on Elements of Justice.
Applejack! Twilight! Help! I'm telling you, I didn't do anything wrong!
Would it be alright if I led this case?
My name is Private Eye. I'm the lead investigator for this case. The victim's name is Royal Order, a member of Princess Celestia's Royal Guard.
That scooter! And that wagon! Those are Scootaloos!
So, this is the Nightmare Night statue, huh?
There really was more blood.
This isn't Royal Order's blood.
You mean this case might have a second victim?
We'll find a way to prove Scootaloo's innocence.
Okay, you better, because if you don't, I'll find a way to do it myself, no matter what.
It's a deal.
Good morning, everybody. Good day. Think you guys got coffee now? Maybe I do. Maybe I don't. Who knows? Well, I do. But yeah, I do have my coffee now, and here I am. Welcome. It's good to see you, Quill. We are gonna have a Crusading for the Turnabout trial. We have been waiting for this a long time. And the preview was from the last case. Well, I mean this case, but from the investigation, from the last video. Also, I'm gonna say sorry in advance, because my neighbors, my upper neighbors are drilling again and hammering. So if any of that are hearable during this, I cannot do any of that, anything about it. Literally. It's not even that time of the day when I can say, oh, why are you doing this now? No, this is literally the time when normal people are doing their housework. And it's happy to see you as well, Sanity. I am a bit late, aren't I? It was premiered on November 5, and the first time I saw the pop-up was like 4 days ago. That, oh, it's out for like 10 days already. This is just a reaction, right? So it's unusual at posted live. Well, it is. But this is how we did it with all of the Elements of Justice so far. Especially since Serenity here has a really big part of doing this, right? If you don't know, well. So give me a second. Yeah, you can kinda hear the drilling if I don't have the music on. And that's gonna happen because this is fully voice acted, as you can see. So, before I started this, I rewatched, skipped a lot of it, but I watched some of the parts of the investigation because it was a long time ago. So, I needed some refreshment of what happened. Now we know that there might be 2 victims and actually 2 culprits. Who knows? Live reactions give us team members a chance to give some insight into the episode. Yeah, I enjoyed them too. I enjoyed the episode too. And it's time for me to see. Wait, I don't even know who the prosecutor is gonna be. I mean, it's not gonna be Sonata, right? Why would she do that? But we remember seeing her pop up before. So I guess we are live enough for enough time, so let's just simply set this up. I don't know how loud it should be. I'm trying to set this up properly so it's not gonna be too loud. So, alright, let's start with the trial, which is gonna be led by Athena. And maybe we are gonna see some mood metrics this time as well. Who knows? Let me stop this music. And let's start the episode. We are gonna stop at one point, that's for sure, because I didn't get full coffee, just a little bit. Let's see. Sound levels? Is it loud enough? Or I can make it higher. February 14, 8:47 AM.
Okay. First trial in Equestria, no big deal.
I think we can make it louder.
Except with magic, and 2 kids as defendants, and no help from Phoenix or Apollo.
Oh yeah, she did say that she didn't want any help.
I am positive that this trial will be anything but a cakewalk.
Wait, that's a reference to the mess up, right?
Athena,
The cakewalk.
where have you been all morning? We were looking everywhere for you.
Sorry, Twilight. I got up early to run a few laps around the castle. As soon as I was done, I rushed over
Inside
here.
jokes already.
But you were already up late last night. How many hours did you actually sleep?
0, madam? Ninch?
About 3, I'd say.
Definitely not
At least
enough.
get something to eat?
I had something to
What
drink
is that
after my
picture
lap.
with
Nothing like some freshly
Mayor
squeezed
Mare
orange juice
and
after
Princess
a good
Celestia?
workout.
That wasn't there
Don't let
before.
Applejack hear that.
What was that?
Nothing.
Trust me, Twilight. This
I
is
think it
nothing
was,
out of the ordinary for Athena.
Not exactly a
Princess
great
Luna?
idea to tire yourself out before the trial even starts, though, is it?
At least her image there
At least
before.
I'm getting some exercise, Mr. Overnight Instant Noodles and Comics.
We already noticed that cakewalk line.
Manga, and it's art.
Yes, it is art.
Learn a lot from me. I always make sure I'm well rested before a performance, just to be safe.
There's a
Yeah,
lot
for a
more
magician,
on the line
it's
with this
a
than
lot to
Trucy.
mess up.
You're still worried about defending both Scootaloo and Turning Page, aren't you?
Oh yeah, she needs to
Just
defend
a
both
little
of
bit.
them.
But I'm fine. I'm just a little on
I
edge,
kind
you
of forgot
know?
about that part.
Well, don't worry, Athena. I'm going to be right there with you throughout the trial.
Because Cootaloo
You're
only
right.
accepted if
Thanks again,
turning is gonna
Twilight,
be
for
fine
agreeing
as
to be my
well.
aid.
No problem, Athena.
I'm certainly gonna need the help, that's for sure.
Speaking of those kids, where are they?
Also,
Should've been brought
wait,
here by now.
did you upgrade the sprites? I'm just noticing it, but these are more defined.
Hopefully soon.
Apollo
The trial's
and
about to start.
Phoenix.
By the way, Twilight, did you manage to get any info about the prosecutor?
Is this Twilight's official job now? Well, one of them, yes.
Didn't even tell you?
No, they didn't. I'm sorry, Athena.
Yes, I'm sure these are upgraded
For
sprites.
not being able to find out who the prosecutor is. I gave you my word that I would, after all.
Twilight, it's
And
okay
yeah,
to
we
bring
don't
me.
know who it
I
is, but we
mean,
will
it's
see
not
them.
Like it would make that much of a difference, right? The second we walk through those doors, we're gonna find out
You got the
exactly
scream
who
on
the
the ass.
prosecutor is anyway.
That's nice.
You
That's
did
really
the best
nice.
you
It's,
could, Twilight.
I love this
That's
upgrade.
all anyone could ask for.
Twilight being paid
Good
for this
morning,
now?
everybody.
Wait, I
Especially
think
to
Phoenix
you,
was
Princess
paid
Twilight.
last time.
Turning, there's no need to bow to me, really.
What do you mean?
He just couldn't use the money in the real world.
Time out of your busy schedule to help defend Miss Scootaloo and me. I'm eternally grateful, Princess.
Ah.
Wait, how did you know I was assisting the defense?
I don't know. Maybe Scootaloo said
It
something.
was
It was a chicken.
the prosecutor. They told us.
Oh,
to
the
beware of your
prosecutor.
presence today.
Why does it always feel like we're being left in the
So
dark?
it's definitely
We
someone
don't
who
know
knows
anything about the
Twilight.
prosecution, but somehow they already know about us.
Has the prosecutor who isn't a
And
jerk
they
ever
told
showed up in
Turning
these
and Sylvia?
trials?
Miss Sykes, Princess Twilight.
Yes?
Yes, Turning?
I have a request. I want you both to focus on Miss Scootaloo. I don't care what happens to me, but you must defend Scootaloo no matter what. She's innocent. I know it. If worse comes to worse, let me take the blame. And just
Where we are
save her.
going? Yep.
What? Turning, no! Do you realize what'll happen if we do that? If you're found guilty, you'll be banished from Equestria.
You will be banished to the moon.
I know that.
Just think about your mom.
That's a price I'm willing to pay. If it means Miss Scootaloo is saved.
He's
Ah.
absolutely serious about
Turning
this.
is so
Then you
self-righteous.
must. But just know that if I think things start to look bad, I won't hesitate to confess if it means saving her.
No, you're innocent too.
Oh.
You can't throw your life away just for me, Turning. I won't let you.
It is gonna be like a great Easter trolley. You have to
You just lost your dad after all. If you're
actually
not
think
banished-
about what the others think as well.
She'll be fine. Besides, she'd understand.
No, she
Sometimes
wouldn't.
Sacrifices need to be made. It's my duty, as a future member of the Royal Guard. If even one life is spared, no matter whose, I'd have no regrets.
Aww, that's...
Don't worry,
You
Scootaloo.
can't really deny that.
If the prosecutor said is true, then we shouldn't have to worry at all. I'm just stating this as a last resort, in case things don't go according to plan.
Try to think who that prosecutor might be.
This
They
big
sound
bad
actually-
prosecutor is making secret plans with the defendants as well. You know what? I'm not gonna just stand there twiddling my thumbs. It's time for some answers.
Yeah, we should
Alright,
probably go in.
Just who exactly is the prosecutor? And what exactly did they say to you two?
Yeah, they probably can't tell.
Sorry, Miss Sykes.
Yep.
But we were told not to tell you anything about the prosecutor's identity or plan.
Seriously?
Yeah, that's how it works all the
Why
time.
are they being so secretive?
I don't know, but it's starting to get on my nerves.
Scoots! Turning! You guys doing alright? Yeah, I'm fine, Apple Bloom.
I am. Thank you for asking.
Hey, Squirt! You doing okay? Yeah.
I
Just
don't think they are
I'm
doing
going
okay.
on trial. Yeah.
Are they prepared with a cup
Pretty
of coffee?
crazy, huh?
Well,
It's okay though.
good question.
You made it through the worst part. All you gotta do now is sit tight and wait for Athena to prove that you didn't do it.
I'm glad you've all come out to support Scootaloo and Turning.
Well, most of us, darling. A certain Sam Pony didn't want to get out of bed today. I practically had to drag her.
Oh yeah, Sweetie Belle. Sweetie Belle was still acting seriously sus.
Oh, well, that makes sense, I guess. She was feeling sick yesterday, wasn't she?
That was just an act. What do you know, Scootaloo?
She doesn't seem like she's ill at all.
Hello? Be quiet.
Mental illness is an illness as well.
What's going on?
Well, you see...
People didn't want to help us investigate the case.
Oh, Widget!
What?
Great way to ruin the scene.
That's...
Oh, Widget!
Which world is it in? Human or Equestria? This is Equestria.
No. It's only
Twilight
my fault.
pulled them
It's
here.
not like I don't want to help. I'm just
Because
so
she wanted
sure
help.
That Scootaloo is innocent, and I know that Princess Twilight and Miss Sykes will be able to prove it without my help. Sweetie,
That doesn't sound like you at
how it
all.
works, right? In court, the truth will come out no matter what. You didn't even want to try and help, though? Sweetie Bill! What are you talking about? We're the Cutie Mark Crusaders. We do everything together, and that includes helping each other out no matter what. We've had each other's backs ever since we started looking for our cutie marks.
Yeah, the judge is put in here too.
In the first place. So why aren't you helping now?
Because having Princess Celestia as a judge would be a little bit strange.
Sweetie Belle, I know this is a rough time
They
for
wanted
y'all, but this ain't the time or place to be
impartial
having this
judge.
discussion.
I want to help Scootaloo. Really, I do. But considering what she did, I didn't want to get in the way and make things worse.
They live outside of the trial. Well, judge actually likes coming here.
What's that supposed to mean? Sweetie Belle, apologize to Apple Bloom.
What are you talking about, Sweetie Belle? What did I do?
You know what you did. You stole some fabric from Carousel Boutique the other night. You went into
Oh!
and gave it to Diamond's Yard Silver Spoon, didn't you?
Wait, what?
In exchange for your scooter?
Girls, that's enough.
You didn't say anything about that.
Sweetie Belle, how did you know that Scootaloo stole the fabric in the first place?
Yeah, they were actually learning the human laws, and they made the detention center and the whole courtroom from the human judgment system.
Sweetie Belle? Rainbow, that is quite enough.
No! She's clearly keeping quiet about something. And if it can help Scootaloo, then she needs to tell us.
You need to calm down, Rainbow.
Yeah, we need all the info though.
By scaring Sweetie Belle.
I just knew, alright? Something didn't seem right when Turning showed up in the middle of the night to say hello, so I figured something was up. I checked around the boutique after he left and noticed one roll of golden silk was missing. That's all! See,
Oh
there you
yeah?
go, Rainbow? A perfectly reasonable explanation.
I don't buy it. Look at her. She's shaking like a leaf. I think she's still hiding something. Now tell us what happened. You followed them there, didn't you?
Yes.
Rainbow.
All the prosecutors are... They learned the human laws as well.
I'll see you all in there, okay?
Because it is integrated into the system now.
I'll go after her. But you and I are going to have a serious talk later, Rainbow Dash.
But yeah, I kind of start to remember that they were talking about something.
Darn it, Rainbow.
What about here before I had to sleep? Oh yeah, it's nighttime for you.
What a mess.
I hope I enjoy as well. It's
I should
already
not have said
getting
that.
a wild goose chase right here.
Get it. Why would Sweetie Belle doubt Scootaloo? Aren't they all good friends?
They are. But I don't know.
Yeah, so it is an
Close
Equestrian's law is
Still
established to
doubtful.
have been inspired by human
But
law.
Not typically without a very good reason.
If I could have everybody's attention, the trial is about to begin.
I mean, they actually lied to
Please
him,
make
her.
their way into the courtroom.
Here we go.
Here we go. Let's see who the prosecution is. Mom spaghetti.
Don't worry, you've got this. Remember to focus and you'll be able to prove your client's innocence.
Just believe in yourself. Okay? Thanks, you guys.
I'm
I
still
know
just
this is a big
amazed
step for you as a
how-
lawyer, but we all start somewhere.
It
It's
all
time
of
for
the
you to take
time,
that next leap
the
forward.
voice acting
I'm
is
confident
getting
you'll succeed.
better and better.
You'll always have my full support.
Boss.
Pretty much the same judge each time,
We
right?
got this. Right,
Pro
Twilight?
probably. I mean, we didn't see if they are gonna use a different judge this time, but probably the same judge. I'm curious, did you pull the 3D model of the judge as well? We are in courtroom number 5 at 9 AM. Well, that is definitely a 3D. And it is the human judge. And we still don't see who the prosecution
Court is now in
is.
session for the trial of Scootaloo and Turning Page. Are the prosecution and defense ready?
Well, the prosecution doesn't seem to be ready.
Weird. The prosecution is missing. Wait, why is the judge still here?
Judge is always here.
Prosecution, defense, are you ready?
Yes, Your Honor. But, you're still here then?
Still?
You didn't think I'd go straight back home, did you? I figured I'd just
Oh.
take a short vacation in this wonderful world.
Makes sense.
Is it really a vacation if you're still working?
I truly
Kinda.
do love it here in Equestria. After I'm done with today's trial, I plan on doing some sightseeing for a few days before I head back home.
There's your
I
answer
said I
what
wasn't
his free time is
interested
about.
before, but I'm thinking of checking out that race Prince Blueblood mentioned. I'll admit I don't have much experience with them, but I suppose it could be fun to watch.
What is that face?
If you know of any other sights I could catch in Equestria, I'd greatly appreciate being told about them.
I'll let you know, Your Honor.
We now think,
So,
need to think of the judge's
Why
vacation
are
of
you here
Equestria.
exactly, Your Honor?
Yes, we
In
do.
court, I mean.
Well, actually, it was Princess Celestia who asked me to preside over this trial.
Yeah, because you are a fair judge.
Wait,
What was the
Princess
definition?
Celestia asked you? Why?
I'm sorry, Miss Sparkle, but I'm afraid I don't have that answer. The letter I received simply asked if I would be willing to preside over the trial, and I agreed.
That's fair.
Odd. Wasn't that supposed to be one of Princess Celestia's responsibilities?
Yeah, but she hasn't been at the judge
Previous trial was
any
because Twilight
time.
specifically requested it, but that doesn't seem to be the case this time. Just what is going on here?
In any case, we should get started with the trial. Prosecution, I have still yet to hear your answer. Are you ready?
No. Obviously, cricket noises.
Sir, I'd settle for just seeing them.
And these are new sprites, aren't they?
If the
Those
prosecution is
sminty dice for Athena.
prepared, then it would appear that I will have to postpone the trial until they arrive. Very well. Court is...
Objection! Oh, hold. Wait. That sounds like...
My apologies, Your Honor. The prosecution is ready.
About time.
I was right. It sounds like Luna,
Wait.
but...
She has wings?
then it makes sense why Princess Celestia is not taking the case.
And who might you be?
I am Princess Luna. A pleasure to meet you, Your Honor.
I wasn't sure to say it aloud.
Ah, yes. I do recall receiving a message that the original prosecutor for this case chose to allocate their duties to another.
Oh.
Regardless, that is no excuse to be late to court, Princess.
You can call her
Just
prosecutor
will
right
do,
now.
Your Honor. And I understand. My sincerest apologies. A colleague of mine had something they wished to discuss with me, and so it delayed my arrival. Nevertheless, the prosecution is now prepared.
She really does sound like Princess Luna.
Princess Luna, huh?
Especially when
So she is an
when she
ally
sounded
from
that haunted.
Twilight. I suppose that makes sense, given that she's a princess and all. That name, though, it sounds familiar. Wait.
It was where Equestria's current rulers.
Oh,
Princess
I was like,
Celestia,
I was gonna
used
ask,
to
did
live.
she have a nightmare? But no,
That's right. She's one of Equestria's leaders.
they did see the statue of her, after all.
Am I supposed to keep up with the ruler of an entire country?
If it is Luna, wonder if she can bring up evidence from the dreams.
Relax.
Probably not.
Just
Dreams are not evidence.
Focus
I
on the
mean,
case.
who knows? I mean, we are in
About her appearance.
Infinite right logic.
I've seen her somewhere before. Hey, Twilight, Twilight? What's
Yeah,
wrong?
probably they had to.
What are you doing here?
Ah, Twilight Sparkle. I heard that you would be assisting the defense today.
Heard. I think it's more likely that you found out during your night.
I'm looking around at
Am
the
I right?
audience as
I
well.
should have expected you'd know. You've always been the clever one.
What the heck are they talking
There are some
about?
Moses there.
Nevertheless, Miss Sparkle, the reason I'm here is quite simple. It is my duty to uphold the laws of Equestria. I am simply fulfilling that duty.
Makes sense.
Regardless of whom it is I may be prosecuting, be they adult or child, friend or foe, I plan to fulfill my responsibility to the fullest. But of course, being the clever pony that you are, I'm sure you could have guessed that, couldn't you?
No, she couldn't.
As for you, Defense,
But doesn't that mean that Luna already knows the answer?
I was
If they
hoping
are,
that the Blue Phoenix would stand against me.
Blue
Phoenix?
Oh,
His efforts during the TS5 case and the case
Blue
from
Phoenix.
decades ago
Phoenix
were
Wright.
twice proving there was no murder in our peaceful country.
No, you're gonna face the yellow gorilla.
Surprised when I learned that you would be the lead on this case instead.
If she has a
Whom I have only heard of in
has to raise
hearsay
at the
and
moon,
whispers that began
she will need a
spreading
request
after
to
the
break
trial
it
in
the
May
trial.
happened. I
Well,
look
it is
forward to
9
seeing if
a.m.,
you can
so
hold
probably
yourself
not.
up to the same standards that the Blue Phoenix has set.
You'll see. I will live up to his example.
This trial is not gonna last that long.
Scootaloo and Turning Page are as good as free.
Is that so? Well, that's wonderful to hear.
But yeah, what I was about to say, that Princess Luna already knows if they are innocent or not, because of their dreams.
At once, Your Honor.
Alright, let's do this! Ready, Twilight?
No, she is not ready.
Twilight?
Huh? Oh, sorry. Right. Let's get this started.
And
Today's
let's start
proceedings
this.
shall center around the murder of Royal Order, who had just returned home from Canterlot the night he was killed. He was a member of the Royal Guard.
What is this BGM though?
He was killed? Not just killed, he was murdered.
What's the difference? Killed and murdered. The same.
Rest assured, my little ponies, that there is no cause
Title
for
drop.
alarm. We anticipated this would be the public's reaction to this news. That is why we withheld this information until we had all the facts.
Hopefully.
That's right.
I hope that is
I
well.
mentioned something about keeping the victim's identity a secret from the public. Looks like that was the right call.
Now that we have investigated this matter in full, we are ready to present the truth behind this stallion's
The
death
custom
to the court
track.
and
Okay,
the
I was
public.
like, I don't
will
know
begin
this
by
one.
submitting the victim's autopsy report.
Basics of the case.
report as evidence.
I would say it fits. Step to the right temple. That's for the instant.
The time of death is estimated to be on the evening of February 12th between 9:30 p.m., when the victim was last seen, and 10:30 p.m., when the body was discovered. The coroner was able to confirm this during their examination of the body. Death came as the result of a single stab wound to the right side of the victim's head.
Okay.
Single lethal strike then.
A single try.
That's simple, Your Honor. There was only one visible wound, but he appears to have been stabbed at least twice. Whether or
What?
not this was caused by a single weapon or multiple weapons is unclear.
Where is that
What
a
we do know for
sound?
certain is that the victim died instantly after just a single stab. All subsequent stabs the victim
This is
suffered
hard on
were
Tuesday, right? Isn't it?
In other words, the only thing we need to be concerned with is figuring out how the victim
No?
suffered his initial stab wound. That's what killed him.
Additionally, we discovered a large bruise on the left side of the victim's torso, indicating that he was struck by some sort of object.
Yeah, that must
However,
be
unlike
probably the
stab
scooter.
wounds, the victim received this bruise before
Oh
he
wait,
died.
wait. He got that before he died.
See,
3 wounds.
Still wondering is, why did the killer stab the victim in the head of all places? That's way too bizarre to not be important.
Yeah,
there's
it is.
still one more point in this autopsy report that confuses me, though.
I assume you are referring to the affliction the victim was suffering?
That's correct. This
Oh!
joke.
He was suffering
I've done
from
my
poison
research on
joke.
Equestria, but I'm afraid my studies didn't quite cover this topic.
There's no need to worry, Your Honor. I shall explain.
Well,
Joke is a rare type of flower, native only to the everfree forest.
I mean, he could have stabbed himself if he was afflicted with
Should
poison
one so much
joke.
as touch the plant, they will be afflicted with a bizarre condition.
But then where is the weapon?
Yeah, this is all stuff that Twilight mentioned yesterday.
In the case of Royal Order, the affliction he suffered was weak knees.
Oh, okay,
Ironic
just weak
that
knees.
A member of the Royal Guard would be afflicted with a condition that makes it difficult to stand tall.
Indeed.
As for the body itself, It was discovered at the foot of the bridge leading to the castle of
Oh,
the two sisters.
they can claim that because he had weak knees, even a child could have stabbed them.
Cuts through the Everfree Forest. We also have an additional diagram here that gives us a closer look at the crime scene itself. The X we
Then it might be.
is representative of where the body was at the time of its discovery. Lastly, the prosecution wishes to submit this photo of the crime scene to the court. The victim's body had
I mean, is there black market in Equestria at this point in time?
To mark its exact positioning.
Very well. The court accepts the diagrams and photo as evidence.
Also, I'm curious what the guard was doing at that place to begin with.
The persons accused of committing this wretched crime are Turning Page, the son of the victim, and Scootaloo, a friend of Turning's.
Both at the same time.
It is difficult for me to believe that these two children would do something like this, though. Not to mention the fact that one of the two standing accused is the victim's own son.
Yeah, this is actually strange that there are two accusations at the same time.
You will come to see that these two were the only ones capable of committing this crime.
You'd better have some pretty substantial evidence to back up your claims, Prosecutor Luna. These are children's lives at stake.
Well, she knows.
It brings me no pleasure to prosecute these young souls. However, justice must still be served. In the eyes of the law, every pony is equal. Age is a non-issue. I trust that you too know this, and will remain impartial.
Okay, this is different. In Equestria, age doesn't matter. No matter if you are a kid or not, you're gonna get punished or go to jail.
What is your stance regarding the charges filed against your clients?
Your Honor, we stand by our plea of not guilty.
Obviously.
The defendants, Turning Page and Scootaloo, are both completely innocent of the charges filed against them.
But because this is Phoenix Fight Logic, you have to present the actual killer.
Let's hear from the prosecution's first witness.
Your Honor, the prosecution would like to call the detective in charge of this investigation, Private Eye, to the stand.
Oh, Leighton Pony.
Private Eye's up first then. Hopefully he doesn't say anything too damaging.
No, only what we already know, right?
Witness, please state your name and occupation for the record.
My name is Private Eye, Princess. Detective. And might I say, good morning to everyone present. Princess Twilight, Miss Sykes, my lord.
I really love his voice.
Lord, huh? I could get used to that.
And we've already lost him.
The prosecution's first course of action will be to make the actions of the victim clear to the court. Detective, please testify in regards to this matter.
At once, Your Highness.
Wait. Is that... Yeah, that's a hot girl. In the audience.
The victim, Royal Order, was stationed in Canterlot until late afternoon on the day of his murder. After his shift ended, he boarded a train and arrived in Ponyville at around 9:15 that night. Upon his return home, he was informed of Turning's whereabouts and decided to head into the Everfree Forest to find him.
Now it makes sense what he was doing.
At the base of the bridge, in front of the castle of the two sisters, he was ambushed and murdered.
Aww.
Our investigation determined that Turning Page had gone off into the forest with Scootaloo that night for currently unknown reasons. We believe this
now we
is why
know
the victim was in
why
the
they
forest
left.
that night. He was trying to save his son.
I see. You'd certainly need a very good reason to be willing to head that far into the forest. If I recall correctly, that place is filled with all kinds of dangerous creatures, isn't it?
It is indeed, Your Honor. Figuring out why the victim chose to go so far into the forest was one of the key questions we had during our investigation.
Yeah, I had the same question.
One Miss Devotion that cleared the matter up for us.
The wife, right?
The victim's wife, Fair Devotion. She's a substitute teacher at the local schoolhouse. While her husband was away in Canterlot, Miss Devotion would take care of her son all by herself. This on top of her demanding role as a teacher and member of the Ponyville School
It's a
Board.
poison joke too.
She certainly sounds like a very kind, hard-working mare.
It's the same kind of poison
She was
joke.
home when the victim returned, and it was she who told him the turning page had gone into the forest that night.
So, the reason the victim went into the forest was to chase after his son?
That is what the evidence and statement currently point to, yes.
It's hard to argue against that.
Yeah, you can't
I
really
guess
argue
in that
against
case,
that.
I'll just see what other information I can draw out of Private Eye.
Now, Miss Sykes, you may begin your cross-examination.
All you need now is information. A lot of it. I mean, what he says is not wrong.
The victim, Royal Order, was stationed in Camelot until late afternoon on the day of his murder.
Hold it! What was he doing there?
He is working?
Performing his routine duties as a guard. Nothing out of the ordinary.
What did those duties entail?
Monitoring doors, patrolling hallways, the standard fare.
So he was just your average, everyday guard?
Don't belittle him.
Yes.
There was nothing special about his rank, his title, anything at all?
Ah.
Well,
Wait.
as a detective, I can only know so much. What do you think, Princess Luna?
It's just as Detective Eye says. As someone who gave the victim his orders, I can say with certainty that there was nothing that set him apart from the other guards in our entourage.
Makes
If you're looking
sense.
for a motive defense, I'm sorry to say that you will not find it here.
Well, there you have it. You couldn't ask for a clearer answer than that.
Shoot. I was really hoping I would get something out of that.
Nah, you are not gonna
Just
get.
an ordinary guard.
Think about
that
that.
eliminates any potential motive that could be tied to his rank. Still, though, the way Private Eye shifted my question to Princess Luna, something still doesn't seem right here.
Defense, please stop staring at the witness and continue.
Yeah, when they are thinking they are just.
Yes! Sorry, Your Honor. I'll have to look into that later. Gotta continue pressing the detective for information now.
After his shift ended, he boarded a train and arrived in Ponyville at around 9:15 that night.
Hold it! How long had he stayed in Canterlot?
Nearly a month, according to our findings.
Okay.
A month?
Yes.
Royal Order often spent many weeks in Canterlot with little time to himself. Even when offered extended sabbaticals, he chose to forego them in service to the
Sabbaticals?
crown.
This fellow seemed like quite the workaholic.
That's a new word.
Says the guy working on his vacation.
Vacation.
Bound to serving Equestria and maintaining harmony amongst its citizens. Whenever he wasn't on active duty, he spent all of his time with his family in Ponyville.
He certainly was the epitome of a royal guard's pony.
Aw.
His death will surely echo a great sense of loss for both his country and those close to him.
That's odd. That sounded a lot more sorrowful than anything I would expect from Private Eye.
The day he was murdered was no different than any of his other off-duty times. He returned to Ponyville to visit his family. According
Sounds
to
like
our
Private Eye actually
investigation
knew
into
him.
ticket purchases and train schedules for February 12th. Royal's train arrived in Ponyville at 9:15. He then headed straight home, arriving about 10 minutes later.
Okay.
What did the victim do once he got there?
Upon his return home, he was informed of Turning's whereabouts and decided to head into the Everfree Forest to find him.
Sabbatical for vacation. Yeah, I figured. I just haven't seen the word before.
Indeed. We heard this from Miss Devotion herself.
And how did she know what her son was doing? I doubt she would have allowed Turning to go somewhere that dangerous.
It's not about allowing or not.
At the victim's house, we found a note written in Turning's handwriting confessing to his actions that night. Miss Devotion knew where her son had gone because of this note.
Makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. Went to the Everfree Forest, be back soon.
Went to the Everfree Forest. Be back soon. Succinct and straight to the point. Just what I would expect from Turning. If Miss Devotion was the one who discovered this note, why didn't she go after him as soon as she found it?
As you said yourself, the Everfree Forest is a dangerous place, especially after dark.
Yep.
She knew Royal Order would be coming home soon, so she decided to wait until the more able-bodied pony had arrived.
I mean, there would have been more.
According to Miss Devotion, when Royal Order offered to go find him, she insisted on going with her husband, but he told her to stay put. She reluctantly complied.
More worried if nobody was home.
Around 9:30. That was the last time she ever saw him.
Like something right out of a horror movie.
Did the victim make any stops on his way to the forest?
I beg your pardon?
I'm just wondering if it's possible that the victim went somewhere else before entering the Everfree Forest.
I'm afraid we neglected to look into this matter, so I cannot say it.
Okay, he could have.
The forest entrance is roughly 20 minutes away from the victim's house. The crime scene is about 35 minutes away from the entrance. The body was discovered at 10:30 p.m. Do the math, attorney. Do you really think the victim could have dawdled before entering the forest?
Yes.
Considering there was only 5 extra minutes.
That
to
5 minutes is a lot.
I highly doubt it.
Well,
That's gonna be a game-breaking
What is it,
time.
Miss Sparkle?
The victim was a unicorn, wasn't he? Did he, by any chance, know how to teleport?
Ah.
That's right.
Probably not.
Have to keep
He
in
was a
mind that
god
this is
for a
world of
reason.
magic. Not everything here follows the rules of my own world.
Detective, do you have the answer to Princess Twilight's question?
I do indeed, Your Highness. Royal Order was an incredibly gifted unicorn.
Okay.
Teleportation was just one of many
I guess
skills he had long since
I stand corrected.
So, if he could teleport, then the time it would have taken the victim to travel between locations is irrelevant. Wouldn't you say?
That makes sense.
But, as I'm sure one as proficient in magic as yourself is aware, one cannot teleport to locations that they've never been.
You mean?
We could not find any indication that the victim had ever been to the castle of the two sisters before this incident. The best we could uncover were multiple instances of him and his son going to Froggy Bottom Bog to spar with the monsters that inhabit the area.
Froggy Bottom Bog, huh? I think I heard about
I mean, he
that
could have
yesterday.
teleported there. That's still
that leads to the right from the crossroads, isn't it?
Quite so. You can
It's-
see it here on the map.
still gonna make the time
forest.
less.
If one were to walk to Froggy Bottom Bog, they would first have to travel to the crossroads to get there.
So that means he could at least teleport as far as the crossroads, right?
Yep.
He must have been there before when traveling to his sparring sessions. If so, then he may have teleported to the crossroads first and walked the rest of the way to the castle. This could make his travel time 30 minutes at most.
That's a lot.
I suppose that's a reasonable assumption to make. Then, are you saying that between 9:30 and 10, the victim was off doing something else?
He could have been.
His son had gone off into the Everfree
Oh.
Forest alone at night. Do you really think he'd waste time delaying his entrance into the forest?
Fair
If
assumption.
anything, he would have used the extra half hour he had to search elsewhere in the woods. After all, it's not like he could have known exactly where his son was.
Yeah, that's true. It's kind of hard to believe that Royal Order would have risked his son's safety by taking a detour, given what we've heard about him so far. Twilight, any ideas?
Unfortunately, none. I didn't think this line of questioning was necessarily going to reveal anything case-breaking.
I mean, he could have looked around in the forest more.
Had a half-hour period where he could act freely without heading to the crime scene. I think that might be something we'll want to keep in mind.
I agree. It might not be
That is
relevant.
important.
You never know.
Miss Sykes, Miss Sparkle, if you are done whispering over there, then let's continue with the testimony.
Sorry, Your Honor. Private, please continue.
When he
Let's
arrived at
see.
the base of the bridge, in front of the castle of the two sisters, he was ambushed and murdered.
He was ambushed?
We believe so, yes.
What led you to that conclusion?
It was the bruise on the left side of his body. We believe that the assailant first delivered the blow to his torso in order to knock the victim to the ground. This was then followed up by at least 2 stabs to the head, the first of which must have killed the victim. If the victim had been on guard at the time, there isn't a chance some pony of his caliber would have been knocked down so easily. That is why we believe he was taken by surprise.
But walking through that dark, dangerous forest in the middle of the night, wouldn't the victim have been on guard regardless?
Yeah, but he was poison joked.
But you are forgetting something else, Miss Sykes. The victim was suffering from the effects of poison joke.
Yep.
Weak knees!
Exactly. The poison joke caused the victim's legs to be weaker than normal. So,
I mean, if he was a real god, he should have known to not touch the poison joke.
it's hard to believe he wouldn't have been knocked to the ground.
I guess that's true.
That certainly seems to make sense. And what weapon are you proposing was used to knock the victim down?
We
Good
believe
question.
It was the sword of the defendant, Turning Page, my lord.
One of the defendants has a sword?
It's a wooden sword.
No need to worry.
And yes, it
I
was
have it right
broken.
here.
Broken.
The defendant has been known to carry this sword everywhere he goes. That night was no different.
Was he
According
wearing
to our
armor?
witness,
Probably
When
not.
she last saw the defendant, his sword was still in one piece. Yet the sword you see now is broken. Turning Page's mother has also confirmed that his sword was undamaged earlier that day. The prosecution contends that the sword broke when it was used to attack the victim.
I see. That's definitely a strong possibility.
Objection! Wait, hold on. That's not how the sword broke.
Oh?
Yes, it's true that the sword is broken right now, but that's because...
Objection!
Oh, that's a
Before
fancy
you explain
objection
to
right
us,
there.
Defense, I would like you to tell us from where you learned this alternate interpretation.
From...
Yeah, from
where? Well, I guess it was from Turning Page.
from
The
himself.
defendant himself, in other words? Do you truly believe that story to be reliable in that case?
I mean,
Unless you have
yes.
some proof to back up his story. I think you do well to keep it to yourself for now.
Huh? For now?
Yeah, Princess Luna is gonna be a
The
fair
prosecution recognizes
prosecution.
that our own evidence on the matter is circumstantial. More definitive evidence may yet prove our claim to be false. At the
She's
moment,
just trying to
however,
get the truth
this
out
interpretation of the
while
facts
defending the
surrounding
children.
sword is the most likely scenario.
The court agrees with the prosecution.
No! I know that's not
Was
how
it
it
just
happened.
really important in this case?
That
Yes,
sword broke
that's
and
for
Turner
sure.
used it to attack those blackmailing bullies. But unless I can find some proof of that, I'm not going to be able to
But we
convince
have not
anyone.
yet been located where the
This
poison joke
sucks.
is.
If only
For
I
some
could witness
reason.
two on the stand. One of them might have a bruise somewhere that I could point out.
A bruise?
That'll have to wait until later, though. I had to finish this testimony first.
So I assume that this sword of the defendants was also used to stab the victim?
It
No?
was not, Your Honor.
You can't really
There
use
wasn't
that
a single trace
sword.
of blood on the sword. No forensic spell or potion could reveal even a single drop.
But then,
Mm.
what was used to stab
They have
the
forensic
victim?
spells?
Oh boy, here it comes.
That's you.
It was a possession belonging to the other defendant, Miss Scootaloo. She stabbed him using her scooter.
Now that's even stranger weapon, right?
How is that even possible? Scooters aren't sharp. Are they?
Are they in
Normally,
this?
my lord. But in this
In
case,
this one, who
the scooter
knows?
in question was broken.
Broken? How?
The left handlebar was snapped off.
If he's been
leaving
affected with
behind a
poison joke
sharp,
before.
exposed bolt that
Probably
could easily
not.
puncture a body.
I mean, he would have went around the poison joke
The scooter was
if he knew that.
unquestionably at the scene, and I have it recorded right here that the bolt itself was covered in blood. When tested, we discovered that the blood was indeed the victim's.
That is true. So that has to have been the second stab.
I must admit, as unbelievable as it appeared to be at first, the more I listen, the more it seems like these two kids really did commit this crime.
As regrettable as it is to think so.
So
evidence
what we
certainly
assume
points to
right
that
now
conclusion.
is that
The victim arrived on the scene and was ambushed by his son, Turning Page. He used his sword to hit his father's left side.
they
This
both
attack
died at the
caused
same
sword
time.
to break. Thanks to the poison joke affliction that the victim was suffering at the time, he couldn't resist the impact and was knocked to the ground. At that point, the other assailant, Scootaloo, rushed to the victim's side. She stabbed him in the head multiple times with a scooter before he could even react.
Objection, that was 3 stabs.
Yes, that does seem to be what happened, given the evidence.
Well, they said at least 2 times.
Wait
So.
a second. I think there might be a contradiction in the sequence of events. Although, I might be overthinking this. No, I have to be onto something here, right?
There's something
Athena?
Twilight?
If you think
definitely
there's a
something strange here.
then go for it. I'll be right here with you.
Right. Thanks, Twilight.
Yeah, they weren't unnecessary for the scooter handle.
I just said to be added to his testimony.
Okay.
Very well. Detective, if you please.
Not a prosecutor can say objection.
The victim was knocked to the ground and then stabbed before he could even react.
Objection! Private Eye, there's a contradiction in your testimony.
Oh? Please, do tell.
Yes, enlighten us, defense. What is this supposed contradiction?
Right. It's...
Well, we know that the bruise is
written here in the
before
autopsy report. Cause of
the
death
stab
was
wound.
a single stab wound to the right temple that caused immediate death, followed by at least 1 more post-mortem.
At
does
least.
Say that, yes, but I fail to see how this contradicts the witness's testimony.
Well, Your Honor, it's simple. If the victim was first knocked to the ground by a blow to his left side, as Private Eye claims, then tell me this. Which side of the victim's head would be facing up?
Oh, the wrong side.
Oh, that would be the left side, wouldn't it? Oh!
Oh!
Exactly, Your Honor. The victim would land with the left side of his head facing up, meaning it would be impossible to stab him in the right temple.
No, it wouldn't. No, it wouldn't. He could still lift his head up.
That's certainly a puzzling contradiction. The
By
victim
trying to get up.
couldn't possibly have been stabbed in the right temple if he were in that position. Prosecutor Luna, any thoughts?
You certainly pose an interesting dilemma, defense. So, are you implying that the victim was first stabbed in the head and then hit in the torso?
No.
It would certainly help your case if you were. After all, a child would have a much more difficult time trying to stab a fully grown stallion in the head if he were standing up straight, even if one of them was a unicorn.
Is that what I'm implying here? Could the victim have been stabbed before he was struck?
That can't be it, Athena. Think back to the autopsy report.
Yeah, they said the bruise is before the stabbing.
Right, Twilight.
Well, Miss Sykes, is what the prosecution said true? Are you claiming that the victim was first stabbed and then struck?
No.
I'm not, Your Honor.
You aren't?
No, she isn't.
Intriguing. And why not, defense?
Because you would send a shout objection.
The victim suffered a large bruise on the left side of his torso ante-mortem. He was hit before he was killed.
I have never heard that
Autopsy
either.
report notes that the
Before
victim was instantly
killing.
killed by the first stab wounds. That means it would have been impossible for the victim to have been struck in the torso after he was stabbed.
Yeah, but
I did it! I managed to find a flaw in the
she
prosecution's
did
case.
nothing. He just stated that what she did.
Let's see how the princess tries to get out of this one.
Prosecutor Luna, do you have an explanation for this seemingly unexplainable contradiction?
Of course I do.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Wait, what?
Yeah.
Can't explain it? Then please share your theory with the court.
At once, Your Honor. As the defense has so eagerly demonstrated for us, the victim's autopsy report creates quite a few perplexing contradictions. However, there are 2 explanations that can clear them all up.
2?
2?
The first is a rather simple one. After the victim was struck, he fell onto something sharp, and it pierced his head, killing him.
That could have happened, but
Well, it might not be right to call it a murder weapon.
accident.
After all, there's no proof to indicate that the assailant ever intended on killing the victim, should this be the case. And the crime scene was a forest, after all. Who knows what could be on the ground? All kinds of dangerous objects, I'm sure.
I mean, we would have found
Indeed.
the
This murder
weapon
could
and
very well have been an
if that
accident
happened.
in that case. But then, wouldn't the object that took the victim's life still be at the scene?
What I just
You
said.
would have found it there, wouldn't you?
Not if the culprit took it away in a panic or in fear.
What about the blood on the scooter?
That could have been the result of our real culprit wishing to frame Miss Scootaloo for the crime. Even if it was an accident, the culprits still wouldn't want to be caught. They would likely fabricate a weapon to avoid their punishment.
No, Turning
While
wouldn't
the
try
cell
to do
phone in
that.
question is quite similar in shape to the exposed bolt on the scooter.
No, it's gonna be the second step.
Were discovered during the examination, which indicates that it's possible 2 different items could have stabbed the victim.
I see. Which would mean the culprit is...
Indeed, Your Honor.
The culprit is a rock on the ground.
Suggests that Turning Page was the one who knocked the victim over. On top of that, out of the 2 defendants, he's the only one who would benefit from making a fake weapon out of the scooter.
If that's the case...
I mean, I'm not
would
denying
line up.
that Turning would have attacked his father, because he didn't know that he had weak knees. He wouldn't have fallen from that attack.
You're going up against the wrong person if you think you can manipulate me into saying what you want, princess. That being said, if I did argue that this was what happened, I could get Turning Page's sentence reduced significantly, and Scootaloo would be off the hook
But
completely.
no, Athena, you are going for the not guilty verdict.
Turning did say he'd be willing to take the blame for this.
Nah. We are in Philly's right. We say objection here.
Is he trying to tell me to let him take the fall? But if I do that, then...
Athena?
I'm not sure what to do here, Twilight. The way things are going, I could very easily get Scootaloo off the hook, and turning a light prison sentence.
Live reaction, watching live reaction from
That
work.
would have everything turn out just as Turning asked back in
That-
the defendant lobby.
Welcome here,
I
then.
don't think I should do that. If I do, that'll just mean we're admitting that Turning killed his own father, even if only by accident. And that will undoubtedly have a severe effect on him. His family, his peers, they'd never look at him or treat him the same way again.
That is true.
Ruin his life.
Even so, Turning seems to be satisfied with that.
Well, I'm not.
No, we are not
It'd be a good thing
satisfied with
Because it isn't.
guilty verdict, even by
I'm supposed to look out for
accidental.
both his and Scootaloo's best interest, and him taking the blame isn't what she wants. So if Luna's
Yeah,
got some
Scootaloo
sort
would
of
be
job
angry at
against me,
you.
Bring it on. I'll never admit that either of them had anything to do with Royal Order's death.
If that's the path you're going down,
You can probably ask, I have suspend this action. Will be safe for works. Unless you don't want to get caught watching ponies.
Whispering to your co-counsel, then tell us. Do you intend to
Oops.
argue that this murder was, in fact, an accident?
No, Your Honor, I do not.
It might have been an accident, but not
The
from
defense's
them.
stance is simply this. We assert that neither Scootaloo nor Turning Page had any hand, or hoof, rather, in this murder.
Ah,
I thought you
Turning
might
didn't
say
like that.
How ambitious of you, little golden pixie.
Well,
Golden Pixie?
it's better than yellow gorilla.
You're admitting that the second explanation for our autopsy contradiction is the correct one?
Yes, of course. As soon as I figure out what that is.
Not so confident, are you? Perhaps once we elucidate the matter, you'll see the folly of your actions.
Okay.
Private Eye, if you please.
We love Luna in this episode. Watched about 4 times already. Well, this is the first time I'm watching. But they are really doing a great job with her voice.
Simple. He did react. When he
Oh.
was knocked over, he must have lifted his head to see who hit him. Once he did, his right temple would have been
What was I saying?
a chance to stab him there.
I literally just said that.
Clear up the contradiction quite nicely.
That he could have just lifted his head up.
There you have it. If the defense refuses to argue that this was an accident, then this is the only other possibility that fits the evidence.
This isn't good. Unless I can poke a hole in this theory, we're gonna be up a creek with no paddle. There must be something we're overlooking.
There's a lot you're overlooking, but I can see
Excuse
what.
me, Golden Pixie.
Yeah?
I see you're straining yourself over there. No doubt desperately clawing for some sort of advantage in this argument.
Yes.
Was it that obvious?
Unfortunately, I'm afraid you're not going to find one.
We get to see if I don't start to crack this case along the way.
And I'm sure you'll realize you're fighting on the wrong side of this debate.
Well, I still don't know what happened. What had happened.
Wrong side. Why did Luna say that? Was that supposed to be a hint?
Yep.
Come on, think, Athena, think. Fighting on the wrong side. Fighting on the
I think we saw the tape on the ground, and it was. And
shows that I'm fighting on the wrong.
the dead body was on the different side.
Your Honor, there's no way the murder could have played out the way the prosecution is claiming it did.
Oh?
I don't expect a better performance from Luna or her voice actress, that's for
Let's
sure.
look back at the photo of the crime scene. Here, we can
Color
see
and
outline
mythical
of the body
creature.
as it was at the
Blue
time of
Phoenix,
the
Golden
discovery.
Pixie.
Looking at it, don't you find it to be a little odd?
Odd? What do you mean? The victim is on his side, just as the prosecution
But on the
claimed.
other side, not.
But think back to the earlier theory. The victim was hit on the left side of his torso and was knocked to the ground. Now, if he was hit on the left side, then his right side should have been what hit the ground, right?
Yeah, but he's lying on the left side.
And yet, in this photo, we can clearly see the victim
I mean the tape.
on his left side.
Oh! You're right!
Yeah, he didn't fall from the hit, it was from the weak knees.
Prosecutor Luna, do you have an explanation for this? This completely overturns your entire case!
No, it doesn't.
Quite literally, in fact.
You aren't fazed by it?
No,
I'm afraid not.
it just actually said that, oh, look at that. He's lying on the left side, so his right side is exposed, so they can stab him easily.
Brought this to our attention an opportunity to explain it first.
Me?
Who else?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I just pointed out the contradiction. I hadn't really thought about what it means yet.
Well, one thing it could mean, Prosecutor Luna, is that the police made a mistake when they were outlining the body.
No, they probably
I assure
didn't.
you, no mistakes were made. I saw to the removal of the body myself. The
Okay.
tape outline was made around the body just before it was removed. Private Eye can confirm this, as he was also there at the time.
Yes. The tape was laid down before the body was moved.
Okay.
There's no chance it was a mistake on our part.
If that's the case, then this contradiction eliminates the possibility of this being an accidental killing. The victim couldn't have fallen on something if he ended up with his stabbed side facing towards the sky.
Indeed.
Unless
And what else?
some pony dropped something on
I
him.
think I got it. It would also mean that the body itself had to have been moved, right?
How so?
If the
I mean,
side of his body that
yeah.
was hit somehow ended up facing the ground, it would mean that whoever killed him must have moved the body from somewhere else and placed it down incorrectly. I don't know if that was by accident or on purpose, but the body had to have been moved.
And why couldn't the explanation be as simple as the victim himself having rolled over after being hit?
Yeah.
Having his feet swept out from under him, causing him to fall on his left side.
Because if he really did land on his right side after being hit, and then rolled over, he would have ended up facing away from his attacker, regardless of which direction he rolled. I doubt he would have wanted to let them out of his sight.
As for why the assailant
No,
swept out his
you
face,
want to
the autopsy report doesn't
get
mention anything
away,
about the
you
victim's
need some
knees being
distance
injured.
first.
Even if they were weak at the time, some bruise or mark would have been left behind if they were hit with enough force to topple him over. there's no doubt that the victim must have fallen over when he was hit. His legs were far too weak to support him after suffering the blow to his side.
So, how's that for an answer?
Are we sure that the bruise came
after he was killed?
Before he fell
He
over?
ended up being found with the left side of his body facing the ground.
The only way? Are you sure about that?
No, not at all.
What now?
I think you are forgetting one last possibility.
And what would that be, Prosecutor Luna?
First, let's review what we've uncovered so far. We know that the victim was struck on his left side, which undoubtedly caused him to fall on his right side. However, when the body was discovered, the victim was found to have fallen on his left side. Between the time the victim fell over and the time the body was discovered, the victim must have moved to account for this change in positioning.
Exactly. The culprit, after killing the victim, moved the body.
Oh.
That's not necessarily the case, Golden Pixie.
Why not?
What do you mean?
Undoubtedly, the victim was knocked over after he was hit. But who's to say that's also when he died?
Oh!
You mean?
That is true.
I do. The victim was not stabbed when he was knocked to the ground. Instead, after he was knocked over, he managed to stand himself back up. After an unspecified amount of time, he was then stabbed in the right temple, which caused him to fall over onto his left side.
Yeah, I cannot say I find anything problem with that.
Court! After hearing both the prosecution and defense's claims, I believe I must side with the prosecution's stance.
What? But why?
Because it's more reasonable.
The theory of the body being moved, while plausible, simply lacks enough evidence to back it up.
Also,
It
then,
leaves too many questions
we have to
unanswered.
realize that
If
they
the body
need
was
time
moved,
to move
who
them.
moved it, why, and from where?
Those are all...
I mean, we have found some blood marks near the statue, but that was a long time ago. And it was someone else's blood.
If you wish to pursue the theory of the body having been moved, you'll need to first disprove that he was killed at the castle ruins. All of the evidence presented in the trial so far points towards the likelihood of the murder occurring there. Furthermore, nothing was missing from the crime scene to suggest that the murder may have occurred elsewhere. Right, defense?
Yeah? Wait, so...
There it is again. She's
Oh no! Wait! The handle was missing!
to see?
The handle
From the crime scene?
from the scooter.
Everything's here, isn't it? The scooter that stabbed the victim, the body itself,
The
Wait a
handle.
second. The body that was stabbed is there. But there's something else that should be there but isn't. This is it! Your Honor, the defense has evidence to counter the prosecution's claims.
Is it really a counter if the prosecution hands you the evidence?
Look at this photo one more time.
Princess Luna is just blatantly helping Athena at this point.
Where?
Right here, Your Honor. Take that! Look at the area near the head of the victim. If we go by the prosecution's theory, then the victim would have fallen in the place he was stabbed.
Yes?
However, if that was the case, then there should be
Oh,
a
the
pool of
blood.
around the victim's
Oh.
head.
Yes, there should be.
But looking at this picture, what do you see?
No blood.
There's no blood at all.
I mean, the grounds have sucked it up, but sure.
Your Honor. An area that should be caked in blood has no trace of it whatsoever. If the crime scene lacks even a drop of blood to speak of, that casts significant doubt over whether the victim was stabbed there at all.
Indeed it does, Miss Sykes.
So, how could this be the case, you might ask? The answer is obvious. The victim's body was moved from somewhere else to the castle ruins.
Yeah, that makes sense
the
now.
only possibility.
Interesting claim, Golden Pixie.
But who
And you
moved
sounded so
and
triumphant
why?
while making it, too. It's a shame that it's completely flawed.
Flawed? How?
Yes.
There doesn't appear to be any blood on the scene right now. But once I bring my next witness to the stand,
Oh, you have more
that
witnesses.
tune of yours will surely change.
This other witness. Time to see if it's who I think it is.
Very
Who
well.
it is?
Detective, you may leave the stand, but
It's
please
gonna be
remain
Sweetie
in the
Belle, isn't
courtroom.
it?
We may need your opinion on other matters as they come up.
Of course, my lord.
Now then, let the prosecution's next witness take the stand.
Before that, oh, it's Sakura. I thought you were missing for months. I guess we are gonna stop right here for a second. I'm gonna grab some more coffee. This is gonna be a good stopping point before Sakura starts to talk. And we are at the halfway point. And Sweetie Belle is still inside, still in the audience. That was my fault. What would Sweetie Belle do in the forest? I have no idea what she would have done. Sakura time and a perfect writing for her. We will see. We will see. Also, I'm curious about her voice. Also, while we are waiting, I'm just gonna put some Athena Sykes music for that, for the break. Oh, there is a lot of speaking doing is doing here. Let's see. Yeah, Quill is writing fanfics too, and she's challenging to write for obviously because of the rhyming that I'm waiting for, probably. What if the voice actors as well? There were 4 writers dedicated to her. One writer had to write out her lines normally, and the 3 others to come up with the rhymes. Wow! She caused a lot of grief on the writing team. Well, I'm not I'm not surprised by that. But if the end result is fine, we are all happy, right? Four writers, 3 dedicated to rhymes, perhaps excessive but likely effective. I wouldn't say it's excessive. Especially at a project this big. Yeah, it was barely enough. I agree. No, they are probably satisfied by it, because if they weren't, they wouldn't have put this out. How many writers do you think it would take for you to not suffer grief over this? Well, it depends on the writers, isn't that right? So yeah, we are gonna have Sakura on the stand. I don't know why she was not in the forest, or at least not at home, because we saw all the months worth of letters near her house. Maybe hire a zebra. I mean, not all the zebras are rhyming, it's just Sakura's own thing. There are only 6 fighters on the team. Oh, I actually thought you had more writers. I mean, you definitely have more voice actors and actresses than writers. When it comes to a speech, it can just rhyme. The meaning has to be intact. Yeah, that's for sure. Also, while we have a stopping point, I'm looking at the audience. As I pointed out earlier, I see Head Girl on the side. I see the other OCs and Derpy as well, but I just can't put my hand on them, who they are. Probably some of your team, at least your team's OC. I think I remember seeing this pony somewhere, but I'm not quite sure about that. Obviously on the right side we have Phoenix, Apollo, Rarities, Vitival, Rainbow Dash, Applejack, and maybe some other ponies. They are all stuff OCs. The Headcraft too? Who is using the Head Girl as a pony? How many is in the staff? Lot. Not just writers after all, that's for sure. Even the Head Girl, yep. About 40 people. That sounds about right. I mean, not all of them has OCs, probably, because then the audience would be filled to the brim. So, I got my coffee. I got everything. Let's just simply continue with Sakura. We are curious. We want to see the rhymes. Especially now that it is pointed out that there are 3 people just working on the rhymes for her. And probably they have a full answer to that, how much there are, but they don't count. You don't need to count them.
State your name and occupation for the record.
A lot.
My name is Zakora, an apothecary. I make my home in the Everfree.
Yeah, that fits.
In the Everfree Forest?
You're a zebra?
Oh, right. I guess I forgot to mention that.
Oh yeah, she did forget to mention that. And there is a pony who can't see anything because she's behind the column.
Yes, Your Honor, I am indeed.
Did you make a
is my creed.
track just for her as well?
Bizarre, but
That sounds like a custom track.
by far.
Interesting.
I just noticed that she's rhyming. Oh boy. I really hope that this doesn't mean what I think it might.
Yes, it does.
Shall we?
I'm surprised you noticed it too fast. So fast.
You were the one who discovered and reported the victim's body.
Oh.
Yes, quite sadly, this is true. It was a scene most gruesome too.
Then please, give us your testimony.
Oh, it's from the MLP game,
in relation
okay.
to this gruesome
Makes sense.
Of course, Your Honor. I shall speak. I'm sorry for this tale is bleak.
Let's see. The witness testimony.
That evening, I was tending to the plants near my home. 2 little ponies passed, heading towards the castle dome. For
Okay.
a while I waited, but return they did not. So I chose to head home at an agile trot. But soon I heard a strange far-off sound. I ran to where those ponies were bound. On my way, a small shadow my eyes did track, but it jumped away before I could react.
A small shadow.
Arrival, what met my gaze I'll not forget for all my days. A pony's body, still with blood around his head, turning earth to mud. Once I was sure that he was dead, to the police I quickly fled.
I was right about that.
Can life cut me a break already? It's hard
The
to
ground
decipher
just soaked it
testimonies
all the
without
blood
having
up.
to decipher them first.
It must have been horrifying to see a dead body that
We have to
night.
realize Sakura was there. Well, she just
But
went
if
there
the
because
Everfree
she had
Forest is
something.
as dangerous as you say it is,
But isn't that a little bit far from Sakura's
bodies be
house?
a common sight?
Most creatures are clean with the food they hunt, but a corpse in the open? A surprise, to be blunt.
You saw blood on the ground around the body?
Yes.
All the life that he had bled, a ring of red lay around his head.
Objection!
A ring of lead?
That's impossible! We checked the area ourselves. Even this photograph shows there was no traces of blood.
Sure, only saw
testimony is
because seeing a police officer once. In Manhattan. Yeah, I think so,
I have
so
told you
too.
all I've seen.
Perhaps I can shed some light on this matter.
But in this universe, they have mostly the guards are taking duty
I'd look
here
rather silly if I didn't.
Very well. Please.
because
explain
murder
this.
happened. Obviously, they are gonna have
Stated,
some force,
This witness was
police
the one who
force.
reported the body to the police. She accompanied them to the crime scene, and they found it in exactly the same state as she just described. The victim lying in a pool of his own blood. I have here a photograph of that very scene.
Okay. Oof, that's a gruesome scene.
The victim does appear to be lying in a pool of blood.
But why was it gone the next day?
That will become clear soon enough. First, the prosecution would like to submit this evidence to the court, along with this photograph.
And what is this?
Oh.
It's a cape.
Even the cape is
The
soaked with
emblem on it
blood.
denotes it as belonging to the Cutie Mark Crusaders.
That's a
the group
problem.
of which the defendant Scootaloo is a member.
That must be the third cape that Private Eye said the police had taken for examination.
As you can see in this earlier photograph, 2 more of these capes, as well as the fabric used to line their undersides, laid in this wagon attached to the scooter. It likely goes without saying, but this wagon also belongs to Scootaloo.
Yes, that's true.
Great Wickering stallions! Just what were the defendants up to in that forest?
We'll cover that in a moment. For now, I would like to draw further attention to this cape here. Upon testing it, we found that it was absolutely drenched in the victim's blood. What?
The cape was covered in blood?
Yes, it is.
Someone tried
Also, what Scootaloo, I mean not Scootaloo, Sweetie Bear said, it's not true, because we saw the Golden Hole still there.
I'd say there's another more likely possibility.
So they didn't give it to the,
This cape
to
was
us.
discovered underneath the victim's body, specifically under his head.
Oh.
You mean that pool of blood Zecora saw?
It appears as though the little golden pixie has figured it out. When the police went to examine the blood, they discovered that it wasn't blood at all. It was actually this cape right here.
Oh.
So, she was on the wrong track all along.
Looks like it. Yup.
Understand? Defense.
Big
When
Mac.
the victim fell to the ground after being stabbed,
One of them was barely hearable through the music.
any blood that seeped from his wound would have trailed down his face and been absorbed by the cloth.
No proof that Crusader used the cape. I mean, they have proof that, I mean, they have evidence that they were there. At least Scootaloo was.
Completely irrelevant. After all, it was the police themselves who removed it.
This can't be right.
Dragging this out like this for those 2 children is just cruel. Even if they're guilty, why can't the lawyers see that?
Order! Order! My word!
No, dragging this along is not.
Argument has been completely overturned.
Indeed, it
It's
has,
fighting for their right,
despite what they
even if
claim.
they are not guilty.
It's clear that the body was never moved. The scene of the crime was undoubtedly at the foot of the bridge. The blood on this cape proves it. And, as luck would have
Big Mac
it,
was called for the stand. How
more piece of
hard would it be
information that will
to
crush
write
the
for?
defense's
Yup,
rebuttal once and for
it
all.
would have been. No, I mean Big Mac can talk, so
No more. Upon examining the area
that's
where
a
the cape
new
laid, thanks to
stance.
forensic spell testing, we discovered traces of blood underneath the area around the victim's head.
Really?
It seems as if the cape absorbed more blood than it could handle, and some of it leaked through to the ground below.
Okay.
Further testing of this blood revealed that it belonged to the victim.
Obviously.
I submit to you the photo of the victim's body, as well as the blood-stained cape as evidence.
Very well. The court accepts them.
Zecora mistook this cape for actual bloodstain.
Defense, care to share your thoughts on the matter?
Not if I don't want to get held in contempt of court.
It seems the Golden Pixie has been rendered speechless in the face of such irrefutable evidence.
That is true.
Just ignore her. Ignore everyone, okay? I'm not gonna lose. Time to get my brain in gear. There has to be something off in her theory. Luna's saying that the body was never moved. The reason there was no blood at the scene is because it was absorbed by the cape.
I mean, if he fell on the cape,
afterwards,
then they could have moved him.
Knocked him to the ground again. Is there anything wrong with that series of events? Wait a second.
Yes.
If the victim was standing up when he was stabbed, then wouldn't it be impossible for—
Miss Sykes! Do you, or do you not, have any objection?
Yeah, she's not answering the question.
You bet I do.
Confidence will get you nowhere, defense.
Objection! Your Honor, the defense would like to point out a flaw in the prosecution's theory.
Okay.
Then get on with it!
Yes, Your Honor.
The issue has to do with the victim's fatal stab wound being inflicted while the victim was standing upright. I would think stabbing an adult at such a height would be nearly impossible for a child. Correct?
Objection! You forget that the owner of that scooter is a Pegasus. What's stopping them from simply flying up and stabbing him that way?
That is a very bug.
I heard something from the defendant in question yesterday that clears up this matter. Namely, the fact that Miss Scootaloo can't fly.
Yeah, and Luna knows that as well.
Order! Order! Prosecutor Luna, is this true?
It's strangely fitting because the last episode I saw was the washouts.
Then there's no way she could have stabbed a stallion in the head while he was standing.
Of course she couldn't.
Oh.
Can I take you by surprise at least once in this trial?
What the defense has said is absolutely true. I have the medical report from Scootaloo's doctor right here.
Oh, wait.
Contrary to Pegasus fillies her age, her wings haven't fully developed yet. And thus, she
Oh, that's how you are gonna say it. I thought her wings are fine. It's her magical powers. Who knows?
Now, when did I ever claim that? All I ever claimed was that some pony stabbed him whilst he was standing upright. If it wasn't possible for Scootaloo to have done so, then that leaves only one option, doesn't it?
Uh-oh.
It's gonna be turning.
Unicorn for his age, and levitation is a relatively simple spell to learn, even for colts and fillies. I'm sure he'd have no problem levitating the scooter up to his father's head and stabbing him with it.
Why the whole scooter? You only need the handle.
Princess Luna, if you choose to claim that, then Scootaloo would have done nothing wrong. Am I right?
Princess Twilight, please explain what you mean.
It's simple,
Oh.
If Turning Page was the one who assaulted his father, and then proceeded to stab him in the head with the scooter, then Scootaloo would be completely innocent. Nothing but a bystander at most. Am I right, Princess Luna?
She struck a deal with Turning.
We shall see.
I see how it is.
It's time for the defense's cross-examination of our witness. We've been putting that off for long enough now.
The weapon shaky for a shaky issue, so that it actually did magically transform into other man once.
Very well. Let us begin the cross-examination.
Did she? I might have not seen that episode. Or at least I don't remember.
That evening, I was
If it's season 9, then don't say anything.
You were tending to plants?
Yes, my plants must grow up strong, lest the potion turn out wrong.
Including that poison joke in front of your home?
Yes, they're blooming but not quite grown, since only recently they were sown.
Are these plants of yours hard to find?
Many flowers around my home can't grow without the forest gnome. They're so rare that to meet my needs, I search the forest for their seeds. I tend to them both day and night, and harvest them when the time is right. But Poison Joke differs.
That's strange.
It's often in a sproul, but at this time of year, it hardly grows at all.
So
The victim was there.
Did you happen to do that on the day of the murder?
I searched quite long that day.
It was confirmed in season 4, the Black Eye episode. Flight to the finish. Yep, that's true.
I tended to my garden plot.
Did you happen to visit the castle of the two sisters that day?
Yes, for along that castle's cliffside, sometimes rare flowers peek and hide. Sadly, when my search was done, I left without finding a single one.
Well, great props for the...
The body didn't happen to be
for
at the
the
foot of
rhyming.
bridge at that time. Did it?
I understand what you mean to say.
It was confirmed then that she can
no,
fly.
the
Yeah,
body
it was
wasn't there
confirmed a
that
long
day.
We
long
already
time
know
ago.
when the victim died. It was long after this witness was scouring the area for plants. Stop wasting our time with these pointless questions and move on.
Well, at least I got some information. Not exactly sure how helpful it was.
No, it is really helpful. That Poison Joke are only in front of Sakura's heart.
Please continue.
In in this time of year.
Two little ponies passed, heading towards the castle dome.
And we know the victim was inflicted by poison joke.
To see who they were?
Of the colt I had no clue, but the filly was Miss Scootaloo.
So you saw the children walking through the forest that night?
Yes.
It surely was a curious sight. Two foals traveling solo that
Did you
night.
see the scooter with them?
Well known, so I thought, what are they doing alone?
They were going to settle the blackmail with Diamond Tiara and Silver Spoon. But I can't bring that up yet. It'll just be rejected outright.
These two ponies. Was there anything about them that caught your
You have
eye?
to hold your ace in the hand.
Frightened, but that wasn't so strange. The forest scares any pony of any age.
They didn't have...
The colt was holding something thick, but not with his hooves, but with magic.
And what was that?
It was a bolt of fabric, rolled. The moonlight showed that it was gold.
They were about to get the scooter back with the roll of golden silk, right?
Just in case.
This matches what we found at the crime scene, as there was a roll of golden silk left behind in the wagon.
It would seem that way.
He also carried a weapon, a sword of solid wood. Given where they were
Yeah, that's true.
I thought this was good.
This was good.
The sword was in one piece. Am I right?
Indeed, there wasn't a single crack. The sword appeared fully intact.
So the defendant's sword really was whole while heading to the sea.
And it then broke when he used it to attack the victim.
Diamond will be called to the stand, but probably not
That's
this episode.
more and more
Yeah, I think so as well.
At some point here, I need to counter with how the sword really broke. But I'm still missing the evidence to support Turning's version of events. One way or another, I'm going to have to find it soon.
Witness, please continue your testimony.
For a while I waited, but return they did not. So I chose to head home at an agile trot.
You just stood on the path and waited?
Yes?
It would not have done to stand and wait, for time has an unchanging gait. Along the central path nearby, some plants were quite nearly bone dry. These I tended by the light of the moon, expecting the foals to come back soon.
How long were you waiting for them?
I worked from 9:45 to about 10:10, so a half hour had nearly passed by then.
And you
So
just
there is
stood there,
still
taking
20 more
care of
minutes.
the whole time? Weren't you worried about two kids going so far into the forest by themselves?
Of course I was! Who wouldn't be? After all, they were in the Ever-Free. But for all that time there was no sound, nor any sign that they were found. On the path I kept one eye, in case they returned or another passed by.
So no pony has passed by them.
No one did, neither pony nor foal. I finished my work without seeing a soul.
Okay, that's
So
important
I decided
information.
to head home and rest, until I heard something that brought dread to my chest.
What was it? It was a sound.
But soon I heard
How
a
did Sakura
strange
know the
far-off
time?
sound.
She doesn't
I
wear a
ran
watch
to
and
where
she's
those
in the middle of the
ponies were
forest.
bound.
She carried the moon.
Noise?
It sounded unlike anything I'd
The moon
ever
is just
heard.
like the sun.
Not a
You can read the
beast,
time from it.
manticore, wolf, or bird. I could hear it echo around. A
She has
strangely
lived
loud metallic sound.
all her life
You mean like a clang?
It was a
in the
particular
forest
tone to
and in the
hear,
wilderness as
though
well.
clang does suit well with what reached my ear.
A clang.
Again? First a fabric roll and now a clang? Any other similarities to the case from 2 days ago I should know about?
Yeah.
Know when you heard this clang?
It
As
sounds
soon as I
like
heard it, I
the
checked
scooter
time.
hitting a
It
rock
was 10:15
or
right
something.
on the dime.
And do you know where it came from?
I know not much to my shame. I could not tell from where it came. I remembered where the children were headed. The sound coming from there was a thought I dreaded.
No.
So, what did you do then?
I made up my mind to find the foals. Reaching and protecting them were my goals. That plan was briefly sent awry when something weird caught my eye. On my way, a small shadow my eyes did track.
One
I jumped
small
away
shadow.
before I could react.
A A small shadow?
I wish I could describe it more than just weird, but it left as soon as it had appeared. Still, it was rather odd to me, so I included it with my testimony.
Makes sense.
Do you know when and where you saw this shadow?
5 minutes after would be the when, so I'd wager it was 10:20 then. Where is difficult, I must confess, as ever free from no address.
That is
Dear
true.
witness, point it out on this diagram.
Okay.
You have my thanks, Princess Luna. Now let me fill this lacuna.
Cool. Yeah, that must have been hard to rhyme with.
Or at least someplace near.
So just on the path?
Yeah, on the
I thought
path.
we were on the path towards collision.
Why would she
but
not
then it
follow the
jumped out
path?
of my line of vision.
For those unaware, the Everfree Forest is notorious for being absolutely pitch black at night.
Yep,
The intense
we remember
tree
that
cover
trial.
prevents most forms of light from reaching the forest floor. However, this incident occurred on the night of a full moon, so sunlight was able to illuminate the areas that lacked direct cover from trees.
Okay.
Unfortunately, the rest of the forest remained as pitch black as one would expect it to be.
Was there any detail about the shadow you can make out at all? Shape? Size? Anything?
Even in darkness, there was one distinct feature. At the very least, it seemed like a small creature.
Okay.
Small? Like
It could be a little
child?
pony.
That's what I thought after what I'd seen. I looked for them, seeing only the forest green. I tried calling
I'm
out,
curious that's
hoping
only
they
one
would
shadow,
return,
though.
But if they had responded, I could not discern. Perhaps they cared not to heed me well. Or perhaps my voice drowned under the howling swell.
The howling spell? Oh,
Yes,
the
and quite loudly, for one main reason.
The
'Tis now
Timberwolves.
The Timberwolves hunting season. Whenever they are on the prowl,
The group
raise
knew
their
that too
canine
about how
heads and
dark is it
howl.
out there. Yep.
On that night they were easily heard, and they kept going undeterred. When they stopped, I do not know. By then I knew it was time to go.
What do
Yeah,
you think
especially
made them
because you
howl?
were started to
Who
find,
is to say?
wanted to find the
Certainly
child.
not me. Into a Timberwolf's mind I cannot
I
see.
mean, children.
As I have told you, it's their hunting season. But truthfully, it could be for any reason.
Let's focus on what we can answer then, shall we? Witness, what did you see once you arrived at the scene?
Upon arrival, what met my gaze I'll not forget for all my days. A pony's body, still with blood around his head, turning earth to mud.
But it wasn't blood. It was a cape.
With blood on it.
I'll admit my interpretation was flawed, but if you don't have a problem, don't needlessly prod.
You didn't check to make sure?
When I came upon
Obviously,
the former
yes.
guard of the law, his stillness shocked me. Not a breath did he draw.
I mean, sure, with that scene, obviously.
I hoped my fears would be dashed by thrills, but my suspicions proved correct, as I realized when I checked his neck.
Oh,
No
at
pulse
least
of
some
life
pony
or blood I
actually
found.
thinking
He
about
was as
things.
dead as winter's ground.
Checking for purse.
And what did you do after that?
That gruesome discovery sent me reeling and gave me a terrible, sickening feeling. The moment I reclaimed my head, I glanced about, filled with dread. There were still the children I needed to find, and their fates were plaguing my mind. Thankfully, as I looked around, no other bodies could be found. Merely a scooter and a wagon lay amidst the frightening horde display.
There was no one nearby?
Perhaps that shadow, of which I caught sight, was one of the children in mid-flight. The other could have simply hid while farewell to that scene I bid. But that's just one
So
thought
she
in my
didn't meet
mind. There's no
any
other figures I did find.
of the children.
You sure? There was nobody there at all? Maybe, hiding in the trees or something?
She didn't look around. At least she
Continuing
didn't
to press
find.
the issue won't yield a different answer, Defense. I suggest you move on before you waste all of our time.
Well, excuse me.
Well, excuse. I know that reference.
What happened after you found the body?
Once I was sure that he was dead, to the police I quickly fled.
Hold it! Did you happen to run into anyone on your way there?
Also, I think Luna is not gonna use her royal voice, because if she did, it would be the objection.
I see. And how long did it take you?
Does the CMC have the marks at this point? Probably not.
My sense of time
I think no.
the thoughts of the crime.
Let's puzzle it out then, shall we? Witness, you claim to have left your house at 10:15. Is that correct?
Yes, it is exactly as you claim. I left right.
This is between season 4 and 5, yep. They don't have the equity marks yet.
The scene of the crime, which we have confirmed was a roughly 15-minute walk.
This is just around the time that when they got their caves.
You examined the scene. How long would you say you stayed there?
Well, it doesn't feel right to make a guess. I'd say 5 minutes, more or less.
So you left at 10:35. The walk out of the ruins and then back through the forest is approximately 35 minutes. The police station itself is another 10 minutes away from the forest. This puts the witness arriving there around 11:20 that night.
Those are some very nice calculations, Prosecutor Luna.
Yay!
Come on! Don't be that
Basic math!
The best is yet to come, Your Honor. I have here a report from that very station.
Quill knows about basic math. Diamond is not nice yet, yup. No.
Great.
They got into a fight with Diamond. That's what Athena is pulling back.
Come on. Oh, this is just hopeless. There's not a single contradiction. What am I supposed to do?
There's a lot of contradiction, but we'll just have to find it.
End of this cross-examination.
Agreed, Your Honor. I don't think our golden pixie can take much more. Best we put her out of her misery now.
What about you, defense? Are you finished with this testimony?
No.
As far as the court can see, there were no contradictions contained within it. As things stand, we will have to trust in what the witness has told us. If you have a rebuttal, Miss Sykes, now would be the time to give it.
Yeah, sure. I'll get right on it with a whole lot of nothing I can even say.
Wait, Seko didn't say anything about the victim.
Ideas?
Right?
Well, just one, but...
That's a problem, right?
I don't think it's a good idea, though.
Well, just tell it to me anyway. We can decide together.
I don't think we have the time for that, Athena. Let's just
What?
keep following the flow of the trial. Maybe something else will come up
No.
later that we can attack.
No, we can't just let this slide. This testimony is too damaging. We have to strike now.
I understand that, Athena. I do. But right now, I don't think there's anything more we can do.
But we can't just give up, Twilight. You said you'd try and help me in any way you could. If you have an idea for how to get us out of this mess, even if it's awful, you have to tell me. Otherwise, we'll lose.
I know that. But I can't let you do this. I've seen it happen before, and it's not worth it. There has to be another way.
What are you talking about, Twilight?
We need to do something right now. We can't let Scootaloo or Turning Page down.
Are we gonna accuse someone else?
Just saying that...
Unless you two are interested in sharing with the court what you are squabbling about, I believe it is time we moved on.
No! I can't let this happen. If I let this testimony stand, I'll never be able to recover from it.
Yeah, you
Very
need to
well.
stop.
Witness, thank you for your time. You may...
Objection!
Hold on. There's something about the witness's testimony that I find strange.
I like the stutter. It's really well done.
Do tell.
Athena, stop!
Sorry, Twilight, but I can't just sit and wait for an opportunity to show itself. I have to knock this testimony down now.
This better not be a bluff, Miss Sykes.
It is a bluff, but...
Of course it isn't, Your Honor.
It totally is.
Widget.
Widget.
Talking to yourself, are we?
Wait, they can't hear Widget?
Don't let them distract you, Athena. If Twilight
Strange.
doesn't want to help me, then I'll just have to figure this out by myself. But there aren't any contradictions or flaws. What now? What would Mr. Wright do here? He'd turn his thinking around. Think outside of the box. If
Yep.
I can't cast doubt on the testimony itself, then what if I just cast doubt on the one testifying?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking about, that Sakura did not mention the victim going to the forest. Or anybody else.
Rebuttal, or let us move on.
Yes, Your Honor.
And we know that the victim was inflicted with poison joke.
Actually, the previous testimony didn't have any noticeable contradictions in it.
What? But is that not what we've been saying?
Yes!
But, well, what if we think about this another way?
Another way?
Athena.
According to the testimony, Sakura saw Scootaloo and Turning Page headed towards the crime scene. She heard a noise and headed there herself.
Yes.
On the way, she came across the two running away from the scene, and shortly afterwards, she arrived on the site.
Wait, she
right
came across them?
She found the dead body of one royal order. I see no point in us repeating all of this.
Well, let's think about that last point for a minute. As we established earlier, the victim suffered both a blow to the side and a stab to the head. What's more, we know for a fact that after the victim was knocked to the ground, he managed to get back up again.
Quite so. Our current theory is that Turning Page was the one who hit him, using his sword. However, if he was killed right at that moment, the stab wound would be on the opposite side of his head. Therefore, he must have had an opportunity to stand upright before being stabbed and falling over again.
Right. But as was pointed out earlier, Scootaloo could not have been the one to inflict the fatal wound. She can't fly, so she wouldn't have been able to stab Royal Order in the head after he stood up.
Which leads us to the conclusion
I
that it must
disagree,
have been
but hey.
Turning Page. He used his magic to stab the victim with the scooter. There wasn't anyone else on the scene who could have done it, after all.
Yeah, that was.
Now's my chance. I may not
You mean to inflict Sakura?
to say, but I don't have a choice now. My hands
I'm pretty
been
sure
forced.
Sakura didn't do anything
There
about this.
was someone on the scene.
Has Turning Page able to use his magic yet? Yeah, he's actually quite profound
Someone
in
else
using it.
arrived
At
and
least
had
in
the perfect
levitating.
opportunity to murder the victim.
Athena, please.
Wait, you aren't saying...
Defense?
Let's assume that Turning Page really did hit his father, and he fell to the ground. Now, at that point, who's to say Scootaloo and Turning didn't flee right then, without killing him?
Then that would mean the one who showed up on the scene after they left would have...
Exactly. Given this scenario, it's entirely possible that our witness, Miss Sakura, is Royal Order's true killer.
Oof.
What?
That's a big oof. I'm pretty sure it's not Sakura.
Order! Order in the court!
And I'm pretty sure Sykes knows
Are you
that
saying
this
that
as well.
her whole testimony was one giant lie made to cover up her crime?
Not necessarily everything. Just the part where she claimed to have stumbled across the dead body. The defense believes that, instead of finding Royal Order dead, Sakura came across him as he was getting up. She then took the scooter that was left on the scene and stabbed him in the head.
I have one question, Athena.
She reported
Motive?
the police, claiming he was already dead when she found him.
That is a ridiculous accusation! What could possibly be my motivation?
Turning and Scootaloo didn't have motives
Yup.
either. Is it really that much of a stretch to suspect you as well? Your Honor, I may not have any evidence to back
True.
up this claim, but you can't deny it is a possibility. As such, we shouldn't take stock in any of this witness's testimony. It's true.
Also, this is a little bit different BGM as well.
Really do that, though?
Dunno. But hey, if she's right, that means those two kids are innocent.
Oh! We still have a royal voice! Nice.
You naive child!
Child?
Prosecutor Luna, please. There will be no insults in my courtroom.
For one who knows not the weight of her words, I can't think of a better comparison.
Hey! What gives? I was just...
You intend to cast doubt on the witness in order to save your own clients.
That
Yet to do
actually
so,
sent a chill down my spine.
Well, what else was I supposed to do? That testimony
was not at all conclusive.
Huh?
The witness never saw who the killer was. She didn't even clearly see who was running away from the scene.
But that's what you and your honor were assuming.
And it's your job.
It's just pushing this trial along.
And demand further evidence and testimony for the prosecution.
And he's just getting angry when
But instead of doing that,
Athena is
you
just
have
pointing out something stupid.
You have dirtied not just her name, but if you're wrong, yours as well. And you, ponies of the gallery, you who would be so quick to suspect this poor creature on nothing but a baseless theory. Shame on you all! Is this the kind of harmony Equestria seeks to share with the world?
Order! Order! That's enough, Prosecutor Luna! Make one more disparaging remark towards Miss Sykes or the gallery, and I'll have you held in contempt of court!
My apologies, Your Honor.
Say what you want, Prosecutor Luna, but my theory doesn't contradict any of the evidence or testimony presented in this trial.
That is true.
As long as that remains true, I'm free to continue asserting it.
Very well. If that's the path you choose, so be it. I wonder if your co-counsel feels the
Probably
same.
not. Probably not. Twilight didn't want to do this.
But it's too late for me to back down.
Nevertheless,
Well, all you did
we
was
can't
presenting a
rely on that
possibility.
theory for much longer. If I
It
can't
is
convince
slander,
you
but
to
still.
abandon it, then I'll just force you to go against it.
Did Luna just break her leg?
Uh-oh. I don't like the sound of this.
You mentioned motive a minute ago, did you not? The motive that Scootaloo and Turning Page lack?
They
It's
don't.
about time we discussed that, don't you think? So bring out that letter you received yesterday.
Oh.
Letter?
The blackmail letter. I know you have it. Show it to the court. Now.
Darn it. What does she know about the blackmail? Did Scootaloo or Turning tell her?
Probably Turning.
What's this about a blackmail letter?
Your Honor.
Should we have about how old Luna is? Everyone is a child. Yep, that's true. Compared to
Scootaloo and
her.
her friends, the Cutie Mark Crusaders, received it yesterday afternoon. Their scooter, wagon, and capes were all stolen by some pony. To get them back, they'd have to bring the blackmailer a roll of golden silk.
Those items all sound familiar.
Wait.
Should, Your Honor. All of
You don't mean to say that you wish to imply that Dunning's father was the blackmailer?
Read the letter yourself, and I'm sure you'll figure it out.
Oh, the location of the blackmail. It's the same place where the murder occurred.
Precisely, Your Honor. Now, we finally know why the defendants were in the forest in the first place. They went to settle this deal with their blackmailer.
That's true. That's where they went.
And I guess this would mean Turning Page is a member of these Cutie Mark Crusaders?
I mean, he can be a honorary member.
For the first time earlier, they became quick friends over the course of an afternoon.
But then, why did Mr. Page get involved with the blackmail?
During her interrogation, the defendant, Scootaloo, mentioned that she was backed into a corner when her friends decided against following the orders they were given. She decided, instead, to ask her newfound friend, Turning Page, to help her retrieve what had been taken. The two conspired to break into and steal from Carousel Boutique in order to acquire the golden silk the blackmailer asked for.
And they did.
These two kids broke into a store?
Oh, this doesn't look good.
No, it doesn't.
After acquiring the fabric, they proceeded to enter the forest and made their way to the scene where the blackmailer was waiting.
And this blackmailer, who were they?
I can answer that, Your Honor. The defense believes they were two fillies named Diamond Tiara and Silver Spoon.
Diamond Tiara and Silver Spoon?
An infamous pair of bullies whom the Crusaders are unfortunately well acquainted with. They constantly harass the group for not having their cutie marks yet, calling them names like Blank Flanks.
You don't have any evidence that they are the ones.
Awful! Let me speak with them. There'll be no bullying on my watch.
No, he actually stopped Luna from the insults.
Yesterday, when we spoke to Scootaloo at the detention center, we learned that an altercation between the Crusaders and these bullies occurred on the day of the murder. During that exchange, Turning Page came to their aid and chased the bullies off. This was where Scootaloo and Turning Page first met, and later, spent time getting to know each other.
Yep.
And I assume this is somehow related to the blackmail letter?
Precisely, Your Honor. The two fillies were angry that their encounter with the Crusaders ended with them getting told off, so they blackmailed them in retaliation. If you look at the top of the letter, you'll see that it begins with, "Hey there, Blank Flanks."
Yeah, that...
The only ponies who would address the Crusaders as such are these bullies.
That is the evidence right there.
This serves as definitive proof that the ponies who wrote the
It might be a misdirection though.
are none other than Diamond Tiara and Silver Spoon.
Objection! Unfortunately, defense, that is not a wholly concrete possibility.
Huh? But
This is coming to the case earlier than you
easily
expected.
be a red herring by the author of the note. These fillies are not the only ones who are
Yeah,
aware
no, he's
that
stating what I said. It could be a red herring.
if these fillies are as infamous as you say they are, then any pony familiar with them would know that they are fond of the term blank flank.
Blank flank.
Defense. Suppose Your Honor began to refer to you as Golden Pixie. Would that make him me?
Well,
yes.
Would it? Golden Pixie? I very much would not mind being considered a princess, you know.
I'd rather not answer that, Your Honor.
But now, let us turn our attention to the letter itself. I'm sure everyone can see that this note is written entirely in letters cut out.
Yeah, you can't really
As a result, it is
tell
impossible to perform
who
any
it's
sort of
from.
writing analysis. However, that doesn't mean we can't prove who the author of this note is.
How?
If we could find the magazines that these letters were cut out from, it'd be a simple matter of matching the cuts on the letters to the holes in the magazines.
Okay.
Yeah, but we don't have those magazines.
But Princess Luna might have.
Sure about that.
Are those?
Wait.
I have here 2 magazines with several letters cut out from many different pages.
My Little
If the
Pony
court would be
magazines.
so kind, I'd like to request some time for the police to analyze the letters on the note and the empty spaces in the magazines. If we get a match, then we'll know for a fact that the blackmail letter was written using these magazines.
I think those are from real world. Pixelated a little bit.
Private Eye?
Yes, my lord.
Please take this letter and these magazines and have an analysis performed. Try to have it done in 30 minutes if you can.
Certainly, my lord.
So where did you get those magazines from,
Prosecutor
Luna?
Luna, have the results come in yet?
They were just delivered, Your Honor.
And what's the conclusion?
The letters on the blackmail note
Match
match the shape
perfectly.
of the cuts in the magazines.
So where are these from?
I see. So it has been proven how the blackmail letter was written. But I fail to see how this helps us, Prosecutor.
Rest assured, Your Honor. We did not simply pick those magazines up off the street or find them in a dumpster.
You must have found them in either Diamond or Silver's house, right?
No. It was in
Magazines
Turning's
that were
house.
used to write the blackmail letter were found in the home of Royal Order.
I knew it. I knew it.
Order in the court! Prosecutor
Certainly, my lord. I will have these evidences analyzed and submitted, so your pizza is free.
Victim himself?
At the site of the blackmail, it was his body that remained after Scootaloo and Turning Page fled the scene. Additionally, The magazines used to write the blackmail letter were found in his home. It certainly doesn't look good for him.
Was it Turning who sent the blackmail letter? Because I'm pretty sure it was not the Royal Guard.
Was a blackmailer? I can't believe it. I won't believe it.
But if you think about it, it does seem to line up.
Objection!
Prosecutor Luna, you can't seriously be suggesting that Royal Order is the black.
Nah, she's not suggesting that either.
What do you mean by that, Princess Twilight?
Royal Order was in Canterlot on the eve of the murder. He
That is
would not
true.
have been able to steal the Crusaders' belongings, nor send them the blackmail letter. Those events transpired much earlier in the day. Unless the prosecution can explain how he absconded with the Crusaders' things while in Canterlot, it's impossible for him to be the blackmailer.
Is that so?
So did Turning want to gloat for Scootaloo how good he is, or what?
Of course, correct, Your Honor. Given the fact he was in Canterlot when the theft occurred, Royal Order could not be the blackmailer. However, I don't recall ever asserting that he was.
That is true.
Miss Sparkle
But
merely
they go with
assumed
another
that
Royal
in
Guard.
the argument, and has seemingly overlooked
Yeah,
his
that makes
fatal
more sense than
evidence
his own
actually
kid
holds.
killing him.
Royal Order was not around to set up this whole blackmailing scheme, yet the fact remains that these magazines were discovered in his home.
Yes,
This
that's
can only
true.
mean that the perpetrator of this blackmailing must be some pony else who lives there. We know for a fact it can't be Turning, given that he went with Scootaloo into
Wait.
the forest to settle the deal. That leaves us with only
The
one
mother?
other possibility.
No, no, no,
The perpetrator can only be the victim's wife,
no.
Miss Fair Devotion.
That is no, no. Oh, there.
Order in the court! Prosecutor Luna, are you sure? That's the defendant's own mother!
I am, Your Honor, as much as it pains me to say. But remember, Turning Page was not the target of the blackmail. The Crusaders, and by extension Scootaloo, were. Turning simply accompanied her into the forest. In which case, it's not so unthinkable that his mother could very well have been behind the whole thing.
Okay, let's stop for a second. Let's stop. I can't blame Luna for asserting that. Okay, let's think for it for a second. Turning's mother is an assistant teacher. She could have easily just taken away these magazines from Diamond Tiara and Silver Spoon when she saw them cutting them around in school. She could just have taken them away because they were just reading those magazines and then decided to bring them home. And she will just give it back later. Really? I mean, Turning might have been able to do that just to prove that he is right, but that wouldn't make sense. I'm seriously curious where this is going. I'm pretty sure it's not her mother, not his mother. I mean, she might have some motive for that, but I don't think that's right. I don't think that's right. Also, would she? Yeah, she should know that Diamond Tiara and Silver Spoon are calling the Crusaders blank flanks. But then why is she not doing anything about it? She is a teacher. The blackmail and the theft of the scooter happened in the afternoon. It would have been after school. So they couldn't have been confiscated. Oh. They could have made that letter before the afternoon. Who knows? Who knows? Let's see what they assert, because this makes literal no sense that the mother would do anything like that for me.
Objection! This is ridiculous. Why would Miss Miss Devotion want to blackmail the Crusaders?
I'm with you, Athena.
She needed to.
Wait, what?
She needed to?
You explained it to us earlier, Defense, did you not? Turning Page confronted two bullies earlier that day. Diamond Tiara and Silver Spoon.
Yes?
He intervened whilst they were harassing the Crusaders. However, you left out the most important detail.
What detail?
That Turning's attack resulted in the fillies' dresses getting ruined.
Oh.
Now tell me, Golden Pixie, what do you suppose happened afterwards?
Afterwards?
There's plenty more to this story than what has been told. Luckily, thanks to our interrogation of Miss Devotion, we are able to shed light on this matter.
Oh.
Please explain, prosecutor.
There are information we don't know about.
Devotion, Diamond Tiara's mother, Spoiled Rich,
Oh god.
after hearing about the incident from her daughter. Those dresses Turning Page dirtied were custom made and quite expensive. So of course, Mrs. Rich was rather upset to hear about what had happened to them. Seeing as how the fault lay with her son, Spoiled demanded that Miss Devotion pay back the money in compensation.
And she agreed to that. Why?
Once again, out of necessity. Mrs. Rich happens to be the president of the Ponyville School
Yeah, that is true.
Miss Devotion
That is
feared
true.
that if she didn't agree, Mrs. Rich would ensure that she would never work at the school again.
It's horrible.
Okay, Luna is bringing up fair points.
Devotion would need to get her hooves on a great deal of money quickly.
We didn't know about this one before.
Blackmail letter didn't ask for money. It asked for the fabric.
Because she wanted to make new clothes.
Why, Miss Sparkle, would that be the case?
New custom clothes, right?
Well, because...
Like I said, it takes a long time to make, and it costs a lot of money.
And that as well.
the fabric would fetch a pretty high price if sold to the right pony?
Exactly. The value of that golden silk was brought up during the fight between the kids. Turning must have overheard what was said and recounted the details to his mother when she confronted him. And that, fillies and gentle colts, is precisely what gave Miss Devotion the idea to blackmail the Cutie Mark Crusaders.
But that
she
was...
did it in order to
Wait,
pay
no,
off
no, no.
Spoiled Rich.
This must mean that her mother should have been at the crime scene
Happening right now.
as well.
Somehow opened up the possibility that
And the kids would have met with her.
You presented a very convincing
But she was home.
prosecutor. But there's still one thing that troubles me.
And what would that be, Your Honor?
She was home when the
Earlier,
rear
you
guard
said that you think
arrived
Royal
home.
Order is somehow involved in the blackmail. But it's been proven that he wasn't around to steal the Cutie Mark Crusaders' effects or send the letter. So how can that be?
There's no big mystery here, Your Honor. It's easy to imagine that Miss Devotion and her husband were working together.
Working together?
What? Yeah, that makes more sense, but no, it doesn't.
So Miss Devotion claims, but the prosecution sees no reason to trust her word anymore. The instant these magazines were matched with this blackmail letter, all of her testimony became highly suspect.
You're quite right. The magazines leave little room for doubt in regards to who the blackmailer was.
Which means they also cast doubt on her explanation for Mr. Order's movements. Taking that into account, we must seek another explanation for why he went into the forest. Luckily, there is a rather simple one. Perhaps, as soon as Mr. Order got home, Miss Devotion explained the whole situation to him. Armed with the knowledge of the blackmailing and the fabric roll, he would have left immediately for the castle. That would be the real reason why Royal Order went into the forest that night. He intended to act as the recipient for the blackmail.
No, that wouldn't have worked.
And thus, we arrive at the heart of the matter. The motive for the murder.
And Turning wouldn't kill his father for that either.
Know what happened at the foot of the bridge that night. However, if Mr. Order was the recipient for the exchange, then we can make a few inferences. It could be as simple as the negotiations going sour, or it could be that learning what his father was doing infuriated Turning to the point of attacking him.
Turning.
Whichever scenario you choose, the basic facts remain the same. Royal Order was present at the scene of the blackmail and died there, murdered.
That part is
The only ones who
true.
could have done it are the only two who were at the scene at the time, Scootaloo and Turning Page. However,
And Sakura.
as the defense has previously demonstrated, it'd be rather difficult for Scootaloo to be involved in this crime, given her inability to fly and the fact that the victim was killed while standing. Therefore, the prosecution is willing to cut the defense a deal here.
What is
No, we are not gonna
You can say
accept
that
it.
Turning Page is guilty of murdering his father, and will be willing to let Scootaloo off without a single charge.
It's a trap.
The choice is yours, Golden Pixie.
They're gonna come in later.
I... Hold it!
Twilight? No, not Twilight. It's Turning.
Your Honor? No! Defend me if you must. But just know that if I think things start to look bad, I won't hesitate to confess if it means saving her.
Ah.
He's going to confess. I have to stop him. Objection! Turning, don't do this! We don't have to give up yet!
Thank you for fighting so hard for us, Miss Sykes. But this is honestly for the best.
Ah.
Objection! No! It's not. I promised you both. I'd save the two of you together!
But there's no way you can do that now. Can you? And besides, this is...
Just tell me one thing, Turning.
Just one thing.
Who was it that you met at the bridge? Was it really your father?
No.
So I was
What
right then.
was he sweating from the
It was
horn?
Diamond Tiara and Silver Spoon.
Well, yes. It
Wait,
was.
no,
But that's...
that's a lot of
Luna,
things.
The defendant just disproved your whole theory.
Objection!
His
Yes.
testimony cannot be.
Congratulations, my dear Golden Pixie. You can now add perjury to the defendant's list of charges.
There you go.
Not if he's telling the truth, Prosecutor Luna.
In that case, defense, let's clear this matter up once and for all, shall we?
Wait, but I...
Shh. It's all right, Turning Page.
Yeah.
Don't forget what I told you before this all started. You and Scootaloo have nothing to worry about. I promise.
Nice, the defense attorney here, not Sykes.
See? Yes, she's trying to help them. Of course! That explains all those hints from before. And
It took you this long.
Cora, too. There's no way I can do this by myself. She wants to help, and I need it. Accidenti! I'm never gonna get any better if I keep getting bailed out like this! But I need to do something! Just this once, okay? Just this once.
Ah.
Yes, Prosecutor Luna. I can indeed.
Glad to see we're on the same page, then.
All right. Go ahead, Miss Sykes.
Thank you, Turning.
Okay.
I'm not quite sure I understand what just
Well,
happened.
we do know that Diamond Tiara and Silver Spoon were at the scene of the crime at that
claims
point.
that the orchestrator of the blackmailing deal was Fair Devotion. We claim this because of the magazines found in her home. These, as previously proven, were
These
used
magazines
to
could
create
have
blackmail
brought there
We
by the
also
mother.
claim that Miss Devotion sent her husband
Not
to
Devotion,
Royal Order to
but
the scene
Filthy
of the
Rich.
exchange. He was subsequently killed by one or both of the ponies who arrived to settle the deal, Scootaloo and Turning Page. Meanwhile, the defense claims that the orchestrators of the blackmail were two fillies the Cutie Mark Crusaders had encountered earlier in the day, Diamond Tiara and Silver Spoon. Their main evidence is what Turning has just said, that the ponies he and Scootaloo met at the bridge that night were, in fact, Diamond Tiara and Silver Spoon. Defense, I hardly need to explain to you that testimony from the defendant is not entirely reliable, do I?
No, we know that.
Not at all, Prosecutor Luna.
Then, by all means, do prove it to us. Prove that the one the defendants met at the crime scene was not Royal Order, but instead, those two fillies.
If I'm right that she's helping, then I have to believe that the evidence I need has already been shown.
Was it?
Unfortunately, all of the evidence relating to the blackmail seems to point directly at Miss Devotion. In that case, instead of trying to prove who the blackmailer was, I should focus on figuring out everyone's movements that night. If I can show that Royal Order's actions contradict the blackmailers, it should be enough to bring those two fillies to the stand. Prosecutor Luna, I have a question for you. How do you think the victim made it to the scene of the blackmail?
Ah, now we're asking
There you
real
go.
questions. The prosecution is
Because as I said, Sekiro didn't say anything
about
about seeing the victim.
Thus, he likely would have teleported as far as we know he could go, the crossroads, and simply walked the rest of the way. Simple, no?
Objection! Unfortunately, Prosecutor Luna, that's not possible.
Why not, defense?
Turning? Scootaloo?
Yes?
Miss Sykes?
Remind me once again at what time the two of you entered the forest.
It was around 9:25. I'm pretty sure.
And while you were walking
This is the magical land of ponies. They know the time without even having any clocks or watches.
No.
I don't think so.
Prosecutor Luna, can you remind the court what time the victim left his house?
As we heard from Detective
It was
I's
later, yep.
testimony, it was 9:30.
And do you know how long it takes to reach the crossroads from the forest entrance?
About 5 minutes.
Just about the
Precisely.
same time.
And that clears it all up then, doesn't it?
I'm afraid I'm not following.
The prosecution claims that Royal Order teleported himself to the crossroads.
We can
as
produce
soon
a
as he
cut of
left
the
his house.
popcorn, that's me.
In other
Yep.
words, at 9:30. Additionally, we've just confirmed that Turning and Scootaloo entered the forest at 9:25. After a 5-minute walk, they would have reached the crossroads at 9:30.
Obviously. If they went at the same
Conclusion, couldn't have teleported to the crossroads immediately
same
after
speed
leaving
all
his
the
house,
time.
Because if he did, he would have appeared right in front of the defendants.
I mean, they could have walked slower.
Very impressive, Golden Pixie. You've proven that Royal Order couldn't have been walking ahead of the defendants. But
What if
what's
they were
preventing
before?
him from having followed
Behind?
them? It might mean he was a little late to the
Or a 5-minute trot.
but that alone doesn't make it an impossibility. Unless you have proof to the contrary, defense?
Yeah, we have proof of that. Athena,
Something
you
wrong,
have proof.
Sykes. You look like you've come to a terrible realization.
You have proof of from the one you accused
Just
before.
stood there, taking care of plants the whole time? Weren't you worried about two kids going so far into the forest by themselves?
Of course I was. Who wouldn't be? After all, they were in the Everfree. But for all that time there was no sound, nor any sign that they were found. On the path I kept one eye, in case they returned or another passed by.
I guess no one ever came then?
No one
Yep.
did, neither pony nor foal. I finished my work without seeing a soul.
Now come to the part where you accuse her of killing.
It's obvious. But unless I retract my earlier accusation, it won't be credible.
Defense, what have you hit upon?
So, this is what Luna meant when she said she'd force me to abandon that theory.
Yep.
The only reason I made it was to remove that damaging testimony from the court's consideration. But now it's coming back to bite us. No, to bite me.
Yeah, it's your fault, Tina.
This must have been what Twilight wanted to warn me about. She knew this could happen.
Well, Golden Pixie, don't keep me waiting.
Once again, I don't
No,
think I have
you
much
don't have any
choice.
choice because that's the only evidence
That's
you have.
not right. Not again. This isn't like before, when I could have let it go. This time I really have no choice. I have to do this. And Luna knows it.
And everyone watching this trial knows it as well.
If she isn't out for blood, then letting Sakura's testimony stand shouldn't be much of a problem, regardless of how much it hurts our case. At this point, that's what I have to believe.
There you go.
Your Honor,
Yes, Miss Sykes?
before the defense makes its next argument, we would like to retract our accusation of Miss Sakura.
That's awkward. Yes.
Defense? Did I hear that right? You wish to retract your accusation?
Yes.
Yes, Your Honor.
I'll have you know, Miss Sykes, that I don't take kindly to fruitless accusations.
That is true.
I'm afraid I'll have to hold you in contempt of court as punishment.
Contempt! Objection! The prosecution objects to the defense being held.
What? You can do that?
You can see that our opponent is merely a fledgling attorney, still trying to find her footing. Such inexperience can easily lead to impulsive decisions.
Prosecutor Luna.
Even so, in this line of work, such actions cannot be overlooked, Prosecutor Luna. They could easily lead to the destruction of an innocent life. As such, I feel punishment is necessary here.
It is. You can just take over one of
I
our lives.
understand, Your Honor. In that case, why don't we leave that decision up to the one whose life was targeted? If she wishes for the defense to be punished, then the prosecution will stand down.
Sakura, it's up to you.
Very well. Witness, what do you say?
Punish her!
It's alright, Miss Sakura. You don't have to say anything. If you want to see me get punished, I won't blame you. What I did was rash and dumb. I'm just really new at this. Twilight here tried to stop me, but I didn't listen to her.
Due to Sakura's evil laughter in the mind. Ah, I'm getting away. They think I'm...
suspect you of anything, especially when
I'm not the killer anymore. They took the accusation back.
I can't expect you to forgive me, but I just wanted the chance to say I'm sorry.
I understand what you meant to do, saving both Turning and Scootaloo. While your accusation has hurt my pride, I, for one, will take it in stride. You and I desire the same, you see, to see those two young defendants set free. You evidently still have much to learn, but punishment from me you have not earned.
There you go.
Oh,
nice.
Thank you. Thank you, Sakura.
But I will not forget that there is still the possibility of Sakura killing
the
them.
defense shall not be held in contempt. However, Miss Sykes,
She never
I
left the
better not
stand.
see any more rash accusations come from you again. If I do, you will be penalized and held in contempt, regardless of what the prosecution or witnesses may say.
Understood, Your Honor.
I'm glad we've cleared up that matter. So now let's return to the topic at hoof. The prosecution still believes that Royal Order was the recipient for the blackmail exchange. The defense has proven, however, that he could not have arrived at the scene prior to the defendants. Our amended theory is that he followed behind the children as they made their way through the forest. Defense, do you have any objections to this interpretation?
No?
I do.
What did you do?
Then, by all means, state them here and now.
It all relies on Sakura's
Oh yes,
testimony.
we were about to say that.
She
Oh yeah,
to have kept an eye on the forest path
the victim couldn't have come here.
Pass. She continued watching until 10:10, when she finally retired for the evening. During that entire time, she didn't see any pony following behind the defendants. That means the victim couldn't have passed by during that time frame.
But she could have passed through a little bit later.
Need I suggest the obvious? Mr. Order could have easily waited until Sakura had stopped watching the path before continuing onwards. Or better yet, he could have simply walked off the path and through the woods himself using an illumination spell. Objection!
Her aim is just to get the truth out, not within the case.
Would leave. Even if, for whatever reason, he did wait, it takes about 15 minutes to reach the scene from Sakura's hut anyway. He'd be arriving at the castle no later than 10:25. But we know Turning and Scootaloo had likely left the castle by that time. Sakura spotted one of them in the form of a small shadow at 10.
It might not have been one of them.
No chance for negotiations to even occur, let alone turn sour.
And the chance of using an illumination spell?
Highly unlikely. The Everfree Forest is pitch black at night. Under the cover of trees, you'd need a very strong source of light to find your way through. A light that strong in a place that dark would no doubt have caught Sakura's attention.
That is
no
true.
matter where it came
that is
from.
true.
Indeed. There's no way I would have missed a light, and I did not see one at all that night.
Which leads us to only one conclusion. Royal Order could not have followed behind the defendants, nor made it to the scene ahead of them. Thus, Royal Order could not have been involved in the blackmail.
No, he still could have, but no. So, where we stand right now? He definitely went there before the kids.
And with that, any motive for murder has completely disappeared.
Indeed. It would seem as if the prosecution's proposal no longer holds water. What say you in response, Prosecutor Luna?
Simply this, Your Honor. Bravo.
Yay!
That was a fantastic rebuttal.
But we still don't know the truth.
Oh,
Thanks?
Thanks?
Is it a full moon tonight?
Given how much you helped.
I don't know.
It's too early for thanks, Golden Pixie.
Oh boy. Back to the nickname already.
Your assertions are solid and well-founded.
But
unfortunately, they are far from impregnable.
What do you mean?
Your claims hold strong only so long as the two assumptions they're based on are true.
Yes.
What assumptions?
The first is the small shadow Miss Sakura saw. We can't know for certain it was related to these kids.
It can be other kids, right?
Exactly when they
It's
left
one of
the
them.
scene. In that instance, it would be more than possible for Royal Order to arrive late at the scene and still meet the defendants there.
That is true.
Well, why don't we ask them now?
Because they are defendants and
Any testimony they could offer
and the testimony is not.
by your own remarks, defense. They could
They are not
claim to
reliable.
agree with your statements in order to support your story, and that would get us nowhere.
That may be true, but I'd still like to hear what they have to say regardless.
Yeah, that's good. So
We're using our right to remain silent
wait,
here.
you do? What?
Yeah.
What? Why?
Because they did meet
Golden Pixie.
with the father.
Defeat the entire purpose of the right.
You're right. Fine then. What's the second assumption?
Your initial rebuttal was based on the fact that Royal Order left his house at the specified time of 9:30. However, this information came from Miss Devotion, whose testimony is questionable. Can we really trust the time she gave for when her husband left home? And finally, there's one last problem with your rebuttal.
There's still more.
Yep, there is still
Even
more.
if we grant that those assumptions are true, your arguments utilize several different measurements of time in order to make your point stand.
Wait, are you gonna address
Are
this?
but estimates based on a pony's gait. depending on the difference in size, walking speed,
I'm
and
amused.
other varying factors.
I-
There's always going to be a slight difference in how quickly or slowly one can travel from point A to
I was surprised that you did this.
even though it may seem as though Royal Order would have teleported
Yeah,
into
I told you before
before the
that
defendant's eyes,
walking speed differs all the time. It's not gonna be just 5 minutes.
area. So what's
I applaud
your
you.
next move going to be, Defense? I'll grant that you managed to cast doubt on Royal Order acting as the blackmail recipient, but it still hasn't been proven to be false just yet. As long as we have no reason to doubt that Miss Devotion was the one behind the blackmail, it'll be difficult to refute this point.
But she's not the one behind the blackmail. Turning said it himself. The ponies he and Scootaloo met at the castle were Diamond Tiara and Silver Spoon.
And yet, no evidence has been submitted which would suggest that either Diamond Tiara or Silver Spoon were even at the scene of the crime.
That is
We
true,
only
though.
have the defendant's words, which cannot be fully trusted.
Well,
Well, the writer is discussing all the possibilities of each other about the case when this is all written.
they have to be the ones who were there that night.
They probably knew everything.
How am I supposed to prove that if I can't even use Scootaloo and Turning's own words? If I'm right about Luna, the evidence to prove it must exist. But I've never even seen these kids before. How am I supposed to be able to— Objection!
Twilight?
Twilight?
You're right, Prosecutor Luna. Looking through the evidence, there's nothing that can yet prove our claim, which is why the defense is prepared to submit—
Wait, you have something else?
You are?
We are, Athena.
Twilight.
Then by all
Yeah, it's a
means,
14.
please present this evidence to us.
Working
Miss
on
Sparkle.
this.
Gladly, Your Honor.
Are those pieces of
Oh, yeah,
glass?
I kinda remember glass there.
These glass fragments were found at the scene of the crime. However, the investigation concluded that they were actually a broken pair of nearsighted glasses.
Oh, from Silver Spoon.
Exactly. Now, if you run through the profiles of every single pony involved in this case so far, you'll notice that they all share a distinct characteristic. Not a single one of them wears glasses.
What? Prosecutor Luna, is this true?
It is, Your Honor.
That would, of course, make these shards of glass seem irrelevant to the case. However, if we take into account Diamond Tiara and Silver Spoon, then the story changes.
Also Moonlight Sonata,
One of them
right?
does wear glasses on a regular basis. Silver Spoon.
What?
We should definitely check if glasses are broken or not.
Many ponies wear glasses, Miss Sparkle. So I'm afraid that alone isn't enough to substantiate your claim. Do you have any proof that those shards of glass are from Miss Spoon's glasses specifically?
No, not yet.
Unfortunately, I don't. But it shouldn't be hard to figure out what the prescribed measurements of her glasses are. All we need to do is hear from her optometrist, and then we—
Objection! You wish to invade a child's privacy on nothing but an educated guess? You have no proof that these glasses were even broken on the night of the murder. For all you know, they could have been broken the day before, or the day before that. If you want us to collect a statement from the doctor, you'll first need to show us that those shards are, beyond reasonable doubt, related to the crime in question.
Can you do that?
Well, I'll do just that. Athena?
Athena?
So much for no more getting bailed out. Twilight's doing all the work for us. If I hadn't jumped the gun with accusing
Athena, get your grip together.
Yeah?
We're going to have to make a gamble here.
Are you gonna...
Apart from hearing from Turning and Scootaloo, there's only one way we can prove when those glasses were broken. Seeing how Luna won't accept
Did
either
Turning
of her words,
attack
our only
Silver
hope is that
Spoon
she can
with the
recall in
sword?
detail what she saw that day.
You mean...
Yes, but before I do this, I just want to make sure you're okay with it.
At this point, you seem to know far better than me how to handle this. Go ahead.
Ah.
Defense! Present your evidence to the court now! What can prove the connection these glass shards have with this case?
Your Honor,
What is this
if you
music
recall,
though?
we heard
It's another
testimony
custom
from Sakura
track, I
earlier.
guess.
She spoke about what she was doing that day before the crime occurred. One of those activities was looking for rare flowers, right around the scene of the crime.
Yes.
Sounds like an investigation team though.
Side. Sometimes rare flowers peek and hide. Sadly, when my search was done, I left without finding a single one.
To explains me mystery stories.
I do remember that. But what significance does that have here?
If Sakura had gone to the
It's not a
scene
solo
earlier that
effort,
day,
but
then she
you all
would
did
be
a
able to
great job.
confirm for us whether or not the shards in question were present at the time.
Oh, that's right.
So, Sakura, can you confirm for us? The glass shards in the picture here. Were they there when you went to the scene that day?
How funny you bring this up to me. It just came rushing back, you see. That night at the scene, those shards I did spy. The glint of the moonlight caught my eye. And as for their presence earlier that day, I think you'll like what I have to say. Because as far as I can recall... there were no glass shards there at all.
Thank you, Sakura. You've been a great help. So there you have it, Prosecutor Luna. The glasses were undoubtedly broken on the day in question, at some point prior to Sakura coming across the body. And I'm confident that once you get these shards examined, you'll find that they match up with the glasses Silver Spoon is prescribed to wear. That, in combination with the defendant's testimony, will leave very little room for doubt, I'd say. It'll prove conclusively that both Silver Spoon and Diamond Tiara were at the scene that very night.
I concur with Princess Twilight. Prosecutor Luna, what are your thoughts?
The prosecution concedes that the glasses prove exactly what the defense claims.
You do?
Yes, she wants to help.
However, one final question I must ask.
Oh no. And what would that be?
Does your stance in regards to why these two would have been in the forest that night remain unchanged? The evidence speaks for itself. The one who orchestrated this blackmail was Fair Devotion. It's possible you may have proven that Diamond Tiara and Silver Spoon were at the scene, but do you still claim that they were the blackmailers, even in the face of evidence?
Yes.
Yes, that's a very good question. Defense, do you have an answer?
What do you think, Athena?
What? Me?
Athena, you are the
I'm not
defense
even
attorney
sure I
here.
should say anything at this point. I've already messed up once before, making claims that I couldn't back up.
True, but this is different from then. We have a footing now, one backed up by our own evidence. Regardless of how this trial has gone so far for us, I think we're finally getting somewhere. I think this is our chance to make up for our mistakes.
There you go.
I mean, my mistakes. But Twilight...
Athena! I know you feel like you messed up, but that doesn't matter right now. I took a huge gamble with objecting earlier, but I did that because I trusted you could back me up if I needed you to. Yes, you accused Sakura, but we can't let that stop us. We've got one chance to bring those fillies to the stand. We have to take it.
There you go.
Twilight, even after what I did, you still believe in me?
I guess this is the Athena that cannot believe in herself.
Even if the evidence is stacked against us, we have to take a chance here. Together.
Together we stand tall.
Yes?
Do you, or do you not, still assert that Miss Tiara and Miss Spoon were the ones behind the blackmailing?
Ready, Athena?
I hope so.
The Golden Pixie is back from her sulking journey.
Sulking journey.
This final answer, then.
And yeah, the placement of the clues are what makes this case little bit more engaging. Because if you know everything from the beginning, you will just easily find out what's happening.
And how do you expect that claim to hold, Golden Pixie? The evidence has clearly established that Fair Devotion is the only one who could have been the blackmailer. The magazines found in her home are
I mean,
conclusive to
just the magazine found in the home is a really big placement right there. That
However, what if that very fact
even I was dumbfounded by.
author's trap?
You're claiming that us finding the magazines in Miss Devotion's household was something that the true blackmailer set up? And where's your evidence?
That might be something that I have said, right?
The glass shards. They prove that Silver Spoon and, presumably, Diamond Tiara were both at the scene where the blackmail was supposed to occur. That can't be a coincidence. If the magazines say they can't be the blackmailers, then perhaps that evidence should be called into question.
Exactly. The glass shards found at the scene corroborate the defendant's testimony. So if anything's suspect here, it's those magazines. It's quite possible they could have been placed in the victim's home in an attempt to mislead the investigation.
Yet, you have no definitive proof of your claim. Just speculation and guesswork.
A lot of guesswork.
Then there's only one way we can settle this. The defense wishes to call Diamond Tiara and Silver Spoon to the stand.
We know they were there. It's impossible to hide that now.
No, we only know that Silver Spoon was there.
Were they the blackmailers? Or was it someone else? The only way we can find out for sure is by hearing what they have to say.
Yeah, that's the only way to go with this. Are we gonna do this today? Probably not. Because we are at the very end.
Allow me to give my thoughts on the matter. The prosecution has given us a very convincing case with only the slightest room for doubt. However, given the potential that there were additional witnesses to the crime that we have yet to hear from, I do not feel it is right for me to give a verdict at this
Are we gonna have another investigation?
Luna, what say you?
Probably not.
I wholeheartedly agree, Your Honor. The defense has pointed out an interesting conundrum. By all accounts, it should be impossible for Diamond Tiara and Silver Spoon to be the perpetrators of this blackmail. However, it was their effects that were found at the blackmail site, which would lead one to believe that they were involved.
Yep.
This contradiction cannot go unresolved. Therefore, the prosecution concedes to the defense's request.
Very well. This court will now enter a 30-minute recess. During that time, I expect the prosecution to obtain the results on those glass shards and find out if they match the prescription of the filly Silver Spoon. If by chance they do, the court demands that she and Diamond Tiara are summoned here immediately to give testimony.
Okay.
That last bit will be entirely unnecessary, Your Honor. After all, the two of them are already sitting in the witness lobby, waiting to be summoned.
Luna have set everything up.
Very well. Court is now adjourned.
And to be continued, obviously. And next time we will see Silver Spoon and Diamond Tiara. I will be happy if we see Silver Spoon with a broken glass. And we have some credits. You can see all the credits here with some music, which might be. Oh, it's the same thing. I remember this music, but I'm gonna talk to it because we might have some problems with that. Did you have problems with the music? Predictions. I'm still not sure what had happened here. We know that Diamond Tiara and Silver Spoon were at the scene, but because of the stab wound, multiple stab wounds, I have absolutely no idea what actually happened. If it was just Scootaloo riding on a bike, on a scooter, I would have been able to explain that it was an accident just flying into him. But no, the scooter was there. So it had to be something that obviously the handle is broken. And we still haven't discussed anything about the other bloodstain that is not from the victim. There's still a lot to this mystery, isn't it? So let's stop here. That's gonna be fine. And let's put some investigation music here. Why not? There we go. So, we don't know anything. We literally don't know anything. We are back to the beginning. We now know that Silver Spoon and Diamond Tiara were in there, and as well as Luna already knew that. And we still don't know. Wait, why did you stop music? For it's just I need to restart that. For some reason it started loading and buffering. But I'm still not sure if this was an accident or a murder. I'm pretty sure that Diamond Tiara and Silver Spoon wouldn't do that, and as Luna has already said, they are just little girls. They can't really kill the victim while standing up, can they? Does it have some non-copyrighted music from Phoenix Wright specifically? It is from that. This one is really from Phoenix Wright. This is the investigation music. If it's an accident, there is no culprit. But the problem is that Zach only saw one of them getting away. And we know that at least 4 of them were at the scene of the crime. And I'm curious. So, first of all, Turning Page and Scootaloo were definitely met with Diamond Tiara and Silver Spoon. We know that. They gave the role of Claude to them. At least if they gave the role of Claude to them, then why didn't they take the scooter and the wagon with them? If they didn't give it to them, then why is the scooter and the wagon still there? Because obviously we know that both the wagon and the roll of cloth was found on the scene of the crime. And the handle is broken. So is Silver Spoon's glasses. So what I guess is that Turning definitely attacked Silver Spoon. That's hence why his throat is broken. And that might actually explain the blood at the statue, because she didn't really see. It was dark and her glasses were broken. Some of the blood might have spilled on near the glasses. It's not that much blood, but it's we don't know. We haven't found any other bodies, that's for sure, and we know that it is not from the victim. But I still don't know what happened. I really don't know. Silver needs new glasses and probably not cheap, but for family is rich, so I mean, if you are wearing glasses day by day, you definitely have a replacement glass. At least one. I mean, they are not cheap, but sure. You don't want to go around without any replacement. But I'm still curious what had happened here. I still don't believe that it's fair devotion. That would have made the blackmail. It's definitely a setup. And as I said, it's probably Diamond Tiara's mother who put those there. We have never seen Silver Spoon's parents. Wonder what they are like and why are they rich? I don't know why they are rich and who they are. But wait, I just said that Diamond Tiara's mother planted the evidence, but that would mean that she is in this. I know that's far-fetched, but she might be the killer. Probably not, but that would be a big turn of events. I mean, obviously, the father is a royal guard, and if he was on the scene of the crime trying to arrest the children, that would make this a really interesting thing. But I really don't know what had happened. We still don't have every evidence. We are still missing the handle, literally. The handle of the scooter is still missing. I don't think we have found it. It was not being stabbed inside of the victim's head. I know it's medical knowledge, but I don't think this case will settle with a show canon character did it. I mean, I assume that could have been Sonata's glasses, but I don't think that's it, because we know that Sonata just got out of the jail and she was planning something. But I don't think this was it. I thought she was gonna be the prosecutor in this case, and I'm surprised that it was Luna. The murder. Yeah, we still... I have absolutely no clue how this happened. I have some thoughts how could the murder happen, but I'm still not entirely sure. There are lots of possibilities here. I'm still leaning toward the accident part, but at least one part of it is definitely an accident. So those glasses are cosmetic. Those glasses were nearsighted. Oh. Then, I don't know. I'm suddenly figuring out why it's Luna. Because they are children. And as I said, if it's Luna, she already knows if they are the culprit or not. And she already knows if Diamond Tiara and Silver Spoon are the culprit or not. And I have a feeling that they are not. They definitely did not kill. They are bullies, but not murderers. If they killed someone or somebody, that must have been out of accident. I just thought of a really stupid scenario. What if Silver Spoon tried to attack back at Turning Page, but because her glasses were broken already, he thought that his father was Turning Page? that sounds far-fetched. But and I'm sure she wouldn't go for a killing blow, which is stabbing the handle of the scooter into his head. But yeah, Luna is being very protective of the kids, and because she is the prosecutor, that means Princess Celestia cannot be the judge, because she would lean towards her sister's prejudice, that's for sure. And I mean, Luna was the defense attorney here, not Twilight. not Athena. And without Luna being there, Athena would have lost all the things. But I was surprised when you brought up the time limitation. They were just like, oh yeah, this is 5 minutes this, 5 minutes that, 30 minutes that. But no, there is a lot of variables in this. That, I mean, just to walk a 5-minute walk, someone can take like 50 minutes to do that walk. Someone can run and do that in 2 minutes. Who knows? I respect that you actually pointed out the flaws in these precise timings. I'm still curious how they know the time so precisely all of the time. They don't have watches. They all learned how to read the moon. Minute precisely. I mean, when they are inside their houses, then it makes sense that they know that, oh yeah, there is a clock on the wall, I can see what time it is. But I know when I entered the forest, I know when I got to the place. However, when it comes to the OC characters, what is in character is up to the writers. Well, this is just fanfiction. Even if they are not canon, it's gonna be fine. But can we appreciate the gallery here? Is there a full backup of the gallery? I don't remember seeing the full backup of the gallery. Only just one side or the middle side. There might not have been one at this case. Clocks do exist in Equestria. Yeah, I was... I told you, it's fine if they are home and watching at the time. At their clock. But not when they are inside the forest and knowing the perfect time. All of the time. Yet there is no zoomed out for the gallery. But they still have all of the, some of the OCs here. I see Lyra and Bonbon there. you can't hide. But whenever certain moment starts, we can see the battle. Okay, we are gonna go back there. But here, I was talking about this polygon right here. She can see half of the things because she is behind the column right here. So then, I mean, we saw them from behind. I also seen hourglasses, but you can't really call the time from hourglass. I mean, are you gonna count all of the sands of time? Let's try to find a diamond and a silver in the background. They are in the waiting room. They are not in the gallery, aren't they? I think they were just in the waiting room. So she was already prepared to call them to the stand. And no, there is no zoom out in the beginning. But yeah, there is still a lot of mysteries here. I'm curious how this is gonna go and where. Because I still can't place the puzzle together. There's still a lot of missing pieces. Who is the pony who got the blood on the statue? This is another spot differently, entirely. And it's far away from the scene of the crime. Where is the missing handle? And did Scootaloo and Turning meet with their father. They remained silent. They called for the right to remain silent. So they probably did meet with the father. And their father was most likely the one who set them to scramble and leave the place. I mean, his father probably knew about the blackmailing. Or maybe not, but he knew about Turning going out in the forest alone. When a testimony starts, oh. My bad. Oh yeah. Just a little bit outside. There we go. That is most of the courtroom. We're still missing a lot of ponies. And we zoom in, not outside. Oh, I didn't see this pony here. That's definitely one of the overseas. And this one as well, on the side. But the left side is mostly consists of all of the OCs. Except Derpy, Lyra and Bonbon. I definitely say that there are not 40 ponies here that are OCs. Just because there are not all of you have OCs. Yeah, Scoots and Turning was embarrassed about something. Probably their Turning's father telling them off. Yeah, Bonbon. And Lyra is right next to her. As I pointed out in another scene. When we are looking at Twilight. Sometimes it's hard to find the exact spot that you are trying to check. There. We can see Lyra here. Right next to Bonbon. They have to go together, don't they? You don't see the full picture, but they show the other. I'm curious who this green pony is between these two. Or is it just a green spot? But that is a full green. Oh, wait. Is it an animation error? No, it's not. It's not. Because it has some curve on it. So it's a pony, I guess. Is he there the whole time? Yeah, that's there the whole time. Also geht Octavia and Ichiban 3. Yep. There are lots of characters here. And I'm curious when we are gonna get the next part. I don't know if you are done with the part 2 of the trial. Probably not yet. But I think you probably took most of that, most of the case together. And I hope we are not gonna need to wait another 3 months for the next one. But I'm gonna looking forward to it. I mean, let's just see, where was the last one? It was May 15. Next part is being worked on right now. So maybe we are gonna get it in this year, or maybe the next year, at the beginning of the entire case is already planned out. Yeah, but we can see how much you have worked on this. I mean, just from case 2. Let's just see. Do we have... Just look at the difference on the sprites. This is Phoenix in the last one. And do we have Phoenix? I definitely sure that we saw Phoenix here. Yeah, this is the sprite now. You can see the difference. They made a lot of improvements on most of the sprites, and they added a lot of their own animations, their custom animations, that were not in the game at all. I mean, just at Athena's little sideshow. I mean, I definitely sure that these sprites were in the game. But not all of them, like half of them were not even there. Like one, like this one. It's definitely a new one. And not at liberty to say, don't want to look at something we might not live up to. That's already fine. I know it's even better to just say nothing. you call your height to remain silent, right? It won't take long, that's for sure. Episode 3's production was unique. I can say that. You changed up all of the things. You probably got some new animators as well. Who knows? I mean, we can check the credits, compare them to the last one. But oh, I just realized they actually have you actually have Athena's badge on this because they got equestrian badges. It's not the official badge that you can use in Earth, that's for sure. I mean, the judge would laugh at you if you actually trotted in with a heart-shaped badge to the court if you were not in Equestria. But we can't say anything about that. We need a fanfiction of the judge having a vacation at Equestria right now. Any spoiler for reasons why you can explain why it's unique? Well, a lot of things was unique in its own right. I mean, you definitely had Sakura in here. And yes, a lot of things has changed. I like the changes. Did we have any new... There we go. Pretty Pegasus Wings is Sakura. And Rarity Apple Bloom and Sweetie Pearl are both voiced by LP Arts. Private Eye? Great voice acting. Obviously, not just the Private Eye, not just the... Where is Princess Luna? Oh, right here, Goddess level 1. You actually found perfectly fitting voices for all of them, all of the new characters. The new 3D models were being worked on. Yeah, that takes a lot of time, even to just make the sprites, not even to animate them. And they are not just clear cutout of the actual 3D models. They are worked on to make them more 2D. I mean, let me just break this up. Just a second. I think I have some of the 2D models myself. I'm not sure. Oh no, not in this. I have the old characters right now, not the 3D ones. That's on my other Winchester. I'm not gonna pull it up at this moment. Wait, I might? No, that's not. Okay, I don't have them. But if you reuse those assets you just made, the next episode can be faster and visual front. Yes, that is true. Because they are just gonna use the same models. They still have to make Sweetie Belle, not Sweetie Belle, Silver Spoon and Diamond Tiara. But yeah, that is still a lot of work to do all of this. A lot of this work on that was spent on this episode won't have to be done for the future episode. Because we know that all of the 3D sprites for Phoenix Wright, Athena Sykes and Apollo Justice are gonna stay. They are much better. And the judge as well. I mean, just look at the... Wait, let's go back to the starting point. Where the court begins. You already made Diamond Tiara and Silver Spoon. Oh yeah, they were. So, now this is the court. And let's just go back to Elements of Justice. We need an earlier episode, maybe this one. And you can see the difference, a big difference between the court. As I pointed out earlier, just look at the judge's face. Athena, Phoenix. That was one problem with that I had before. Now everyone is visible perfectly, and they don't stand out. That's the biggest thing. They don't really stand out too much. They still don't stand out because they are humans, but this was so obvious that they are here before that. This was in the first case. I expect to see an angry face on Diamond as well as arrogant at least once. But there are gonna be lots of things. Not my team, I'm just a member of it. Javis is the creator and the director of this project. It is a big project, that's for sure. I mean, just look at this. This was 2.5 hours. I mean, for me it was a lot longer because I was speaking through it, so it was like 3.5 hours or something that I'm live now. I hope to see Double Chin pose on Diamond when she has the Crusaders. What's that supposed to mean? But yeah, if you haven't seen the whole thing, Quill, I suggest you try it out. I mean, the links should be down below in the description if I put them right. Let me see. Yeah, the links is down below in the description. And yeah, as I said, I have no idea where this is going, but I approve of the changes. Also, wait. Yeah, you remade the whole courtroom. I just realized that. You remade the whole courtroom to this. That's a big difference. You made more white. I mean, it's the same courtroom. It has the same details and everything. But It's a lot cleaner. Big of your reaction. I have to say, interesting to see your other opinion about the case instead of just watching it. Maybe it's a different room. Maybe it is. I mean, do they have courtroom? Does it say which courtroom is it? Oh, that was the Manhattan one. Ah. Yeah, it's Ponyville District Court, courtroom number 5, and this was courtroom number 2, maybe, in Manhattan Court. Yeah, it is different. But we like to see the changes. It shows that they are in a different courtroom. That's nice. But also, as I said, it's not just a repaint. It actually looks a lot cleaner. Because the sprites are much better to begin with. So yeah, it was fun. It was definitely fun. Also, my friend is nudging me on Discord that I should join him soon. Let me see, what did you write? Okay. Both cases occurred in February, huh? Yeah, it was like 2 days ago for them. Between this case and this case, not much time has passed. Yeah, it was days apart. They just returned. They had a party and then, oh no, what happened again? Also, yeah, we need to see a party from Pinkie Pie later. I'm still curious where this is gonna go. I cannot see the full picture yet. I see some parts of it. But yeah, I'm gonna wait for the next episode to come by. It might come sooner. It will definitely come sooner because you don't have to redo all the poses and everything. You still have to edit it and still have to record most of the lines, but that's much faster than what it's gonna be. And as I said, I like to see how much progress did you make, and it was not just wasted time. You actually did a lot of things for this. I can just upload to you for all of the work you did, and you still keep me on the seat at the edge of the seat because you always add some new evidence that we have not found about. I mean, just Luna accusing fair devotion was like, wait, no, that makes no sense. Then she put out an actually fair play. Some evidence that we have not known about, and it makes sense now that she would accuse it. In that case, that was a short vacation for that judge. I mean, why would she leave? Why would he leave? It was just 2 days ago or 3 days ago. I mean, would you leave if you were summoned for that word? Would you leave immediately to go back home? The magazine twist was one of my favorite parts to write in. I knew people would get thrown off by it. I was like, wait, that has to be a setup. And I still think that has to be a setup. But I'm curious how this is gonna be here, because I see a setup that it could not have been a setup or not been a setup at the same time. It can be a curveball, total curveball, just to mess with us. Don't tell anything about it. I'm gonna see it when it comes out. Which one is right? But that magazine right there is a total curveball. Not just now. It's a setup for later as well. I can see it right now. It's unrealistic to believe that a magazine about the basics exists in that world. They saved the world. It's not unrealistic, okay? There's enough times. I'm still curious. I have to ask. Is this just a magazine that you made, or is this an actual magazine that you just pixelated? I mean, not you, but this one. Is this an actual magazine? It looks like an actual one. Well, time has differently requested an AA universe. It was likely 1.5 years for ponies and 8 years for Phoenix after all. Yeah, that's strange. It was strange for them. So it may be a kinda long vacation. Yeah, but I was gone for 2 days. Oh no, it was 2 months. But yeah, I'm curious how Trucy is gonna be here. Is Trucy gonna save everything later? It was taken from an MLP light novel. Okay, I thought it was it looks similar to something I have seen before, but I mean, it's ponies. It could have been done just to make a new magazine cover. But yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense to not make sense anymore because we still have a lot of pieces of the puzzle that we need to get, and I'm pretty sure you know as well that there's a lot of information that is being left out just for us to just to be revealed later. I can tell that. But yeah, that was it. I'm gonna be turning off real soon. It was a fun ride. It definitely was a fun ride. You were throwing curveballs left and right. So little Easter egg for the viewers to discover. Yep. I again applaud you for doing your job right. For doing all of this. We can see all the work that has been put onto this. The voice acting was perfect, the animations were really good, the new sprites are amazing, and the writing, obviously. Just right. But yeah, thank you for watching, and see you next time on the next part of the trial. I don't know when it's gonna be. Also, I don't know if I'm gonna be reading tomorrow. It depends on my voice, because I'm gonna probably meet up with a friend sooner or later. So now, I'm gonna leave. Thank you for being here, and see you next time. Bye bye. I don't want Among Us.